friend request time for hemp. So.
Well, welcome to the Mondays.
Tara can't get her computer to work unless her webcam's on, and her webcam microphone has a crackle in it and causes an echo.
Right.
So we need to get Terry a new webcam or a new mic. Is that what's up?
Yeah, I need a new mic.
We can do that this weekend.
That or she needs to figure out how to set her settings so the mic that she's got will work when she's not running her webcam.
Right. Right. That's what I have to figure out. Which can you firm request for time for him? All right.
Okay, my friend Steven, right, Terry?
Yeah.
My really good friend Steven, who was a medic over in Iraq for 3 tours, wants to come on the show and talk about a guy named Bo Birdall, who he was in the same troop with, which was a guy who's actually internationally known as being this huge traitor, because supposedly he was part of this military group, and then he went and started working for Al-Qaeda. And Al-Qaeda's been protecting. But it's almost like watching Homeland off Showtime, because it never really happened.
Casper, wait a second. I have to interrupt just a moment, Kevin. I'm sorry. We're having a trouble getting the first guest. Casper, Sam was saying that he sent you a friend request at time for him. You're not seeing it?
No.
I don't know why that's happening, because he's telling me...
Is his name Sam, or is his little handle something other than Sam?
It's Sam, Geherna.
Well, okay. Well, when I type into my contacts, SAM, I get Sam Chapman or Sam Morse in my list of contacts.
Okay, what about your request? Have you seen a request from him?
I have not seen a request. I've got 9 different requests today. One from a Joyce Carol, one from a David Braddock, one from Ronald.
Okay, okay, it is not on Ustream. It is on Skype.
Say that.
Okay.
Tax. Let's see.
It is on Skype.
Why not search for him? Maybe he's too high to find me. What's his name on Skype?
Okay, his name is Sam. Okay, I'm gonna spell it.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And his email.
I don't see it in the window. Did you put it in the window?
His Solar Bowler is the Skype name. That might be what it is. Solar.
SOLARBOLAR, all one word?
Yep, yep.
SOLARBOLAR, all one word.
BOLER.
BOLER. Okay. Excellent.
That's what I'm seeing on the screen here.
No results for SOLERBOLER.
How about SOLARBOLER?
SOLARBOLER. No results for SOLARBOLER.
Oh my God, I don't know. I'm typing with them right now. I don't know why you're not connecting. Time for hemp on Skype.
Northwest had this, Alex had this issue last time too. They couldn't find him, and he kept saying he was sending them friend requests, and they weren't getting them either.
I am not on Ustream. We please. I don't understand. We are broadcasting. I'm okay.
That's how I spelled it. SOLARBOLER, right? That's how I am, and if you contact a search directory and type in my name, TIME4HEMP.
Okay, okay, he says he has no bandwidth restrictions on him. Okay. But, well, why can't we find him on Skype? How, what if I called him? Would that work?
I don't know, but is that his name? Colar? Bolar?
Boler.
Soler? Boler?
Solar one word.
Boler. Solar.
That's what I have as a Skype name. That's where it says like on the farther, like it goes English mail and then Skype name is Solar Bowler. His name that I see on the screen is Sam Gierna, Gherna.
GH what?
Gherna.
When I typed in, he popped up,
Okay.
And I just sent him a request. Yeah, that's what I thought. She's knocked the fucking. Okay. That's why I can't get internet.
What happened? What's going on?
Summer's in my guest room, which is where like Comcast has this plug that they plug in. Apparently, that's what's in charge of my internet throughout the house. And if somebody unplugs that or knocks it even a little bit, the internet goes out of my house. For some reason, I'm still connected to you guys, but I can't access the internet. It's weird.
Okay, so is that him? Sam Gherna? Is that him?
Gherna.
He's part of your group?
Yes. Is he on?
He's on.
Hey Sam, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
Okay, cool. We got connected. Awesome.
So, are we ready to go live then?
Yeah, let's do it.
When the music stops playing, you start talking.
Okay. Hey Sam, I can hear some feedback on the Ustream. Can you turn? I can hear some feedback. Can you unplug me on any type of like device that you have?
Imagine a town where there are no small joints, just small stories, where Kush is a girl's best friend, and law breaking is the new liberty. It's the Hollywood Hemtress Hour, hosted by your honey blonde Hemtress, Terry Joyce.
Welcome to Hollywood Hemtress Hour. It's 12. Well, it's a little bit past 12 a.m. We're running a little bit behind. We had some Skype issues tonight, as well as just it's hard to find each other on the web sometimes. You're listening to Hollywood Hemtress Hour, by the way. If you're just kind of curious, like what? This is Hollywood Hemtress Hour on the Time for Hemp Network on iHeartRadio. I'm Terry Joyce. Thank you very much for tuning in. This week, I have my co-host with me, Kevin Korn from Hardcore Entertainment. Welcome to the show, Kevin.
Thanks for having me, Terry.
Wow, thanks for being here. And so we were supposed to have North Blatt tonight. Do you know what might have happened?
I have no idea what might have happened.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's all right. Huh? What?
I said I don't know where he's at.
Okay. All right. Well, it's hard for me to. For some reason, I think we have a little bit of a delay tonight. For some reason, on the show. But thank you for being here. We do have a fun show happening tonight. We've got my friend Sam Gierna from Solar Bowler to be here tonight. He's actually, I don't know if you like, how cool is this, Kevin? But he actually created a device that you can light weed with a lighter. Not without a lighter. It's just like it's the device that you just light it without having like a lighter to it at all.
he's smoking pot through a magnifying glass.
Right. And he's marketed this device to smoke pot through a magnifying glass.
Well, I tell you what, if he sends me one, I'll report it.
What?
What you just turned off? You need to turn off because you're causing a horrible echo.
Okay, let me turn off this video.
Okay.
It was, yeah, I took video from Sam. Is that better?
That's working now. Thank you.
Okay, great. All right.
No worries.
Yeah, and you know what? It's weird. Like tonight has an odd synchronicity to it. It's a little bit off at the moment, but we're gonna make the best of it. I think the best thing to do when you feel like you're a little bit off is to smoke a little weed. So I'm gonna do that right now. Do you have some, Kevin?
Yes, and I'm actually stoked because as being stuck in Oregon, I have been limited to all outdoor season for the last couple of weeks. But a really good friend of mine who just got a DUI has to go on diversion. So he had a good chunk of indoor left, which he just gave to me. So I am very happy on that aspect.
That's really great. I mean that's good. I came from. Well, not the fact that he got a DUI though. That's never good. I just came back from doing a show today for Jesse Spomberg. It was his birthday party. He does Fight Church TV, and we did a roast for him. And he's also been really involved with Occupy and had a big hemp show that I was on. So I just came back from that as well. And I actually, honestly, I had a couple drinks. I had a Rolling Rock, and because you get 2 free drink tickets. I mean, there are some places that still give you a drink ticket to perform at, and I had just 2 drinks, and you know what? I really wish that I hadn't had them. I mean, I really feel that alcohol does something different to you, that does something different to your consciousness and your awareness than actually cannabis has. I'm much better on just smoking really good weed. And maybe if your friend had been smoking weed, he wouldn't have got a DUI and he wouldn't have to give you his good stuff so that he can go do some time. What do you think about that?
Oh, I agree. I believe, but I also believe that it's done on a metabolical level. So I believe every drug affects everybody differently, and it's up to your metabolism and to find out what affects you and where you can stand. Like me, I choose to smoke pot, and I prefer good pot. Just honestly, that's what I prefer. But at the same time, I also choose to drink. I don't do any other drugs. Now, I have a lot of friends that choose to do other drugs, but you wouldn't know if you just met them that they were on these other drugs because they're just as normal as you and I. But this is what gets them through their day-to-day functions. And to me, I don't frown upon what anybody else does, but I can't say that if I didn't do or I did something else, I would be any better or less of a person.
Oh no, you know what? I mean, again, I don't feel that anybody's any less than a person. And I mean, I'm or that whether you drink or you do any type of drugs, one is. I'm just saying from my own perspective, not really let's say including other people in the mix, but at the same time, I also kind of think that maybe it's a drug that actually affects us differently as well, and that that you can't really lump cannabis use within all the other types of uses of drugs. I mean, and maybe someone could listen to me and go, oh well, that's because that's your favorite drug, and so you want to defend what that favorite drug is. But that's not really how I feel about it. I really, I know. I mean, I'm just saying within my own body chemistry. I mean, because when I think about the reason why I really started to smoke cannabis, and the reason why I really, to the best benefit, the reason why I use it, when I was drinking alcohol. And we work in the entertainment business, so alcohol is free and it flows freely and it's prevalent for us.
No, that's my sponsor.
Right. I mean, it's what our sponsors are. It's what we're. I mean, in a sense, a comedian or a band in a club is just as much of an alcohol promoter as the girls that they hire, the Budweiser girls that run around in little tiny T-shirts and like pass out like keychains. Okay, there's really, I mean, like there's kind of like no difference between them and us, according to the people that hire us. You know, I mean, and what makes me even like, and I, yes, I am going to get on my soapbox about this because it bothers me. You know, then you have some club owner or booker or whatever that still sees a dollar, a dollar sign in the slit of their reptilian eye slit, and they come up to you and they go, you know what? You can't talk about X, Y, and Z, and I can't put your picture with your cartoon drawing with marijuana on it. It's offensive to me, and yet I'm slinging like alcohol that's killing thousands of people every day and causing thousands of like huge diseases like liver and I mean, just like you name it. I mean, I literally had my first roommate that I moved in with in Estacada stopped drinking. He was an alcoholic. He had his 18-month chip, and he dropped dead in my bathroom for like physical complications from drinking. And my argument is, and I'm not saying it's better or worse, but my argument is that I don't think cannabis does that to people, and yet that's not legal.
Well, the only reason it's not legal, Terry, is because they haven't found a way to tax it. It's very hard to tax something that can grow in any sort of environment, under any sort of... I mean, technically, the reason they call it weed is because it is a weed. It literally will grow, whether it's growing out of ice, whether it's growing in the Sahara Desert, whether it's growing under a lamp in your bedroom. It's gonna grow. And until they can find a way to tax and make money off it, they're not going to give it to you. It's much like prohibition for alcohol. You know, alcohol was legal for a long period of time until they saw its rise. When they saw how many people were using it and it was rising, they made it illegal. And when they made it illegal, who did it benefit? Because it sure didn't benefit the people. It sure didn't benefit the government. It benefited criminals. It made criminals not only criminals, but better criminals, and then it gave them the funding. Then it gave them money. Now these criminals that were already good criminals, now they have the backing to become even better criminals. And that's what we're seeing today with drug use. The only people lobbying against legalizing drugs are the drug dealers and the cartels. That's it. Everybody else thinks drugs should be legal. Sure. We know at first if drugs get legal, there's going to be the purge or the splurge of people that become drug addicts. But here's the question that has to be asked: is this the splurge in drug addicts, or are these already drug users who are coming to light? So what I think we should do is all this money that we're spending on fighting drugs and making drugs illegal and locking people up for non-victimless drug crimes, we should take that money. We should make all drugs legal, and we should focus that money into rehabilitation and educational programs. And I have a feeling within a few years, drugs wouldn't be a problem, and we would have worked out the cartels. Of course, that's just my theory. I could be wrong.
You know what? What is a theory? What isn't a theory? It's all like kind of like happening. It's some people like say, well, what is your point? Like, do I agree with you or not agree with you? I mean, like I don't know. All I know is that it doesn't make any sense to me that alcohol is is legal and marijuana isn't. I know that. I mean, I know that I'm a lot more functional, smoking marijuana than I am, drinking alcohol. That's just my own perception. So, anyways, we're gonna come back. We're gonna go to a break. We'll be right back, and hopefully we'll get a hold of Solar Bowler and bring our first guest on too as well. Stay tuned. Casper.
Yeah, the autocratic, bureaucratic, right-wing, Neanderthal numbskulls who keep pushing an insane, inane, and inhumane holy war against marijuana.
Casper.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, have you been able to get a hold of Sam again?
You can see I'm trying now.
I'm having some drama with him for some reason. Like the whole time I've been trying, like, I mean, while I'm doing the show, I'm conversing with him saying, hey, where did you go? And he's like, I don't know. He's being like, you should use Ustream. He's walking from, he's pissed off for some reason. And I don't know why. My guest is pissed off.
All right. Well, then I would not include him in the show.
Yeah, so I think we're just gonna have to go on as is, and I have like Jeffrey Peterson, that if we can call him like in about 12:30 or so, we're gonna do like a Gary Busey. He's gonna call in as Gary Busey, and so I'm just gonna have to wing it without this guy.
No problem. But if I call him without being on commercial, you're going to hear his phone ring. So you want to wait and call Jeffrey during a break?
Oh yeah, I'll carry on with Kevin until the second break.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Okay, let's start the second ad here in just a second. You don't need drama in the middle of a show. You're too sweet, too nice as it is. That's the last kind of crap you need.
Oh well, thank you. I mean, it's just like I couldn't. And then he threw this like MP3 song at me like at the last minute to play his band, which I didn't even know he was in a band. And I go, look, I also have at 4:50 or 5 o'clock in the evening, I'm getting ready to do another show. I mean, I'm having a very busy day today.
Right.
And so I look through and I go, look, this song will do that, and I have this whole MP3 thing. Then I can't get him on the phone, and then like we couldn't hear him right, and then for some reason he got all pissy, and I don't understand like what went wrong exactly.
Well, here's the deal. You don't need to. You're a beautiful star. You're a great comedian. You got a fantastic show. You got a lot of friends who love you. And if there's somebody out there who can't appreciate you for who and what you are and what you're doing, you just keep right on moving and being the best you can and let that be their problem, not yours.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be just a weird moment. I mean, like, cause I feel like there was a shitty start. You know what I mean? It's like and like all this shit happens. I'm like, okay, like wait a second. I just but I mean, let's go. I mean, like I can't look back. I have to just go forward.
We got this.
The past is we got this. I mean, Kevin and I can talk for hours together. We've already been doing after hour shows. We're gonna wing. We'll get through this, and then we'll have Jeff come on, and we'll talk about our topic with Jeff. Why don't we call Jeff and see if Jeff will be Jeff as opposed to being like a character, and then we'll do his character, huh?
We'll call him on the second break.
Yeah, because like he and I did the dope show together, and we can talk about our dope show experience and all kinds of stuff. So.
Just give a message to him that we'll call him at about 40 minutes past the hour.
Okay, all right. Well, he's expecting to call about that time. He's expecting to hear from us between 12:30 and 12:38.
Okay, cool.
Okay, all right. Huh? What? Kevin?
We're coming back.
Okay. Welcome to Hollywood Hemtress Hour. This is Terry Joyce. You are listening to the Time for Hemp Network on iHeartRadio. Thank you for staying tuned. Wow, it's been a little bit of a dramatic beginning of the show, but that's kind of how life is. We are, the radio is a fascinating experience to go through. I mean, it's kind of different, Kevin. It's sort of like you're just sort of talking in front of your computer, and we're making these kind of like different ways of connecting in this different type of media, and it's difficult to get people to understand the professionalism and the organization that's behind it, just like it is if you were to do like a regular radio show on a regular network. But and yet at the same time, the technology oftentimes, like, people are, the calls drop out, or there's like weird echoes, or we can't, like you were like, oh my god, what's going on? Oh wait, the volume's not up, or it's down, or because like we're all learning.
When you hear an
But
echo, it's not an echo. That's just NSA following you.
Ain't that the truth? Let's talk about data mining. I mean, maybe part of the reason why we have technical difficulties is that there's someone behind there trying to make it not work for us, because they know we're part of changing the paradigm that they're still trying to control. I mean, who the hell knows what's going on, right?
Like the story for today, I actually was on Facebook and I got added because of our me co-hosting this show, because of our trip show. I was actually added into this group called America Under Distress.
Oh yeah, I joined that group today too.
Oh, I'm so sorry you joined that group.
Okay, because what happened? Because there was this paragraph. What?
I started just scrolling down their wall. Right? It was the most belligerent, ignorant, racist, hate-mongering I had ever read. And so I was like, okay, maybe that's just a post. I went into the comments section, and it was just hate comment after hate comment. And I was like, what is going on? Then I looked at the group, and then I realized there's only 122 members, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Small group or small-minded people, right?
Right.
So then I go in there and I post on there, and I go, how come everybody in here is a bunch of racists? I was added to this group without being asked, or without anything. Someone just added me to this group, and so far all I've read going down this wall is that it's basically an Aryan playground. That started the biggest thread they've had in the last 6 months. I called them all racist, and every single person in that group attacked me. They had no valid point as to why they weren't racists. All they could do is go, if you think we're a racist, then fuck you. If you were a better Republican, you would shut the hell up. Why are you even in here? I don't know. Why did you invite me? Why did you add me? I don't know. And then their admin came on the board and made a post and goes, and actually directed it, said, at Kevin Court. So it showed up on my wall. He goes, if there's racist posts in here, point them out. So I pointed them all out. They left all the racist posts up and blocked me.
Well, I really haven't spent. I mean, I kind of I joined it because I think Northblatt recommended it to me, and oh great, well what's this all about? But I haven't really read what's really going on there. So just stuff like this makes you need to feel like, fuck it, I just need to smoke some weed. You know what I mean? It's like, the times are crazy right now. People were.
You know what really triggered me? What triggered me was to realize that I know this is only like a couple hundred people on Facebook, but I assume that this is a good chunk of America.
Right.
They're hating people based on still the color of their skin. Not based on their actions, what they've done, good or bad. They have no remarks. Like they're all, we hate Obama. So I posed a simple question and go, well, why is this bad, and why are we aiming it at all black people? The response I got when I asked that question was, if you were a good Republican, you would just shut the hell up and go with the flow. That was the exact response.
Yeah, but Kevin, I don't even know why would they ask you to be in the group? I mean, why are we in the group? I mean, to me, I got listen to the way we are. Why would you include us into this belief system that you feel that that we might be associated with? I mean, okay, here's the thing. People are, in a way, I think some of these social networking programs are just a set of a thought process of what our society is really thinking. And right now, yeah, America is under distress. It's under distress because there's groups like this existing having the issues that it's having.
But
I mean,
right,
but
hate race and pushing their own hate mongering agenda.
Right, but is that's been pushed like from time and time again. I mean, like you can even tie it down to the cannabis plant. I mean, one of the ways that they made us become like illegal about it was they go, oh, your white women are smoking marijuana with your black jazz players, jazz.
Your Mexican over the border boyfriend.
Right. It was. I mean, right. It was like it was meant to get rid of the Mexicans. They even called it marijuana because for that very reason. Because before that, it was called cannabis. So let me tell you something. I think marijuana sounds a hell of a lot sexier. It's like marijuana. You always have an orgasm when you say it.
I actually do.
So, but my question is like, I'm just observing what you're saying to me. I'm going, wow, this exists. Yeah, these groups are happening, and they're posing themselves off as America in distress.
Right. Yeah, that was the part that I had. I went in there and said, you guys are all racist. Is this supposed to be a racist group? And then they all attacked me. And that was what made me realize these aren't a bunch of racists. They were so small-minded. When I posed a question that might have conflicted with whatever they were trying to say, instead of coming with a valid opinion or retort, they could just go, shut the hell up, or you're a pussy, or we don't like you, or get the hell out of here, you don't like her. They had they had nothing to support their unsubstantial claims. And that was like, you know what? Here's the thing. I don't like Obama, right? But I don't like Obama because of the choices that he and his cabinet have made. That's my personal opinion. It's not because of the color of his skin.
Right.
I got a bunch of people who live in trailers in the Midwest who watch Fox News, and Sean Hannity says, hate this guy, and they all hate him. But the second you ask them why you hate him, they go, because it's Obama and he's black.
Yeah, but here's the deal. He's not all black. I mean, that's what cracks me up about people. They're like, oh, this black president. I go, but he's just as much white as he is black. It just happens to be that his genetics had a darker skin color to it. I mean, like.
Well, that I'm not sure about, Terry. Yeah. I've done my research in that, and that I'm not so sure about. Here's my issue. I'm not a fan of Obama because of the cabinet choices he's made. However, I'm also not a fan of him because he has a brother named Malik Obama, who is the head of the Islamic Dawah organization. At the same time, he is also the CFO of the presidential Barack Obama NGO, or nonprofit organization, which makes him the chief financial officer. That meaning all the money donated to the campaign of Barack Obama ends up somehow going to the Islamic Dawah group, who is responsible for the Kenyan mall attacks. It's a terrorist thing. Now, I've done my homework on this. It took me a few years to get the background on this. It not only took me a few years, but it took a few other countries. A lot of people don't know that Egypt and a few other United Nations have Malik Obama, which is Barack Obama's brother, on a terror watch list. He cannot even enter their countries. In fact, the country he lives in right now is Sudan with Omar al-Bashish. And that's because Omar al-Bashish is the president of the Islamic Dawah organization. Wow. Malik Obama is their CFO. But Malik Obama is also the CFO of an American nonprofit group, which is also known as the Presidential Barack Obama Nonprofit Group. To me, that causes issues. Now, this wouldn't be that big of an issue if I didn't know that Malik Obama has walked in and out of the White House 12 times in the last 3 years. This is a guy that is on terrorist watch lists. This is a guy that we know is in charge of one of the main Islamic groups that funds Al-Qaeda. He is their chief financial officer. So he's the one signing their fucking checks, going in or out. And he's in charge of President Barack Obama's nonprofit organization. Where's all that Democratic? When you pay $10,000 to go sit at a luncheon so you can shake the president's hand, where's that money going?
Okay, here's what I think about Obama right now. I'm gonna pull it back to marijuana. Okay, what has lost my faith in the Obama administration? Because I wanted Obama to be president. You know, look, I have a hat that's red and it has studs on it that says Obama, okay? And I would be like driving down the street when he got elected. I had that hat on and I almost hit a guy in a crosswalk, all right? But because I had the Obama hat, he was like, yeah. He was so happy that I almost hit him, ran over him because of Obama. I mean, that's the, you know, now if I wore that hat, would I get the same reaction? No. You know, here's what we thought. Hope you can believe in. Change you can believe in. Hope, change, hope you can believe in. I smoke marijuana. I think it should be like legalized. I think blah blah blah. We should not have these people in our prisons. Blah 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 blah. Oh, let's pull like stop the war in Afghanistan, or Iraq. Let's pull them out. You know, no. It all happened. Okay. We thought he was the president to help us legalize marijuana. All right, we did. We saw the picture. We drank the Obama Kool-Aid based on that. He got our fucking vote. Okay, he got my fucking vote. And then he like pulled the rug out from our feet and went, fuck you. It's illegal. It doesn't matter. And you know what? I'm gonna put the NDAA bill in, and I'm gonna do all. I'm gonna like sign the Monsanto Protection Act. Okay, sorry. I don't care what race that president is that did it. He still did it. And I'm sorry, but to me, there's no difference between him and the Bush administration based on his actions. And the fact that we have a white-black talk conversation about it means that our society is being socially engineered to go against each other and be distracted by the race issue and not like look at what the real issue is. The bullshit that's behind the door. That's all I'm saying.
Personally, Obama reminds me a lot of Jimmy Carter. He was somebody who was elected on principles that the people wanted. We elected somebody because we thought this guy was going to change America based on.
We did, and we thought we were taking a step towards what Martin Luther King said. Right. You know, like one day I will be in a church and we'll like all be next to each other. Who doesn't want that?
Let's step away from legalizing drugs. But then all of a sudden his brother showed up, being a coke addict, being flailed out. Wow! And then they found out they were all doing speed. Next thing you know, Jimmy Carter's building houses and curing guinea worm disease.
All right. On that note, we got to take a break. We got a commercial break. We'll be right back. Please stay tuned to Hollywood Hemper Hour on Time for Hemp on the iHeartRadio network. We'll be right back.
This country. Barack Obama said this week that he's tried drugs and apparently got a.
Okay, what's Jeffrey's phone number, and I'll add it to the conversation.
Okay, let me just go into Facebook really quick here. All right.
I used to dance in Hollywood as a stripper under that name, Kevin.
Which name?
Guinea worm.
Okay, his number is 818.
Hold on, see, 818
233
233
2202.
2202.
Yeah.
Oops, keep an eye on the ads, Casper.
I was talking and my mic was put on mute. That's amazing. I've always wanted to say guinea worm on something that people heard. That was amazing. That was fun for me. I've always wanted to get the word guinea worm out just anywhere. That's like so hard to get out.
That was fun. It felt good to me. Did it feel good to you?
Oh, yeah, because I got to say what I wanted to your rant, then I came back, and then right at the end of mine we cut off. It was almost perfect timing. I think it was perfect.
Yeah. I mean,
people like what we're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but they do. I'm getting private messages, friend requests. It's crazy. Hey Casper.
Yeah.
So you were talking about selling commercial slots. You guys have like guidelines or like a PDF you can send us on that?
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna start this next ad. Hold on.
I got that. He sent it to me. I can just forward it to you.
Yeah, if we're gonna do it. Let's do it, Terry.
Okay. All right.
Guys on the network or just on her show?
Both. Whatever we can generate the most income from.
Well, I think you've noticed we're gonna have a lot of hits, baby.
Let's do it.
That's the cool thing. We got Steve Bloom on the network. Have you seen our lineup of hosts?
Yeah.
I have another question for you, Casper. What if we have other internet radio stations that want to start broadcasting this show?
I would love it.
Okay, that's all I want. Okay, we're good. Yeah, let's do this.
The intention is to make a big noise.
I like it. Let's do it.
And I called Tara and I put her in a spotlight. Did you tell Tara, did you tell her why you're in this spot?
Yeah. Yeah.
She's a genius.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
You know, I mean, and also like it's a 12 to 2 a.m. spot. You know, it's like we have a little extra license. You know. To be real, I think, and also like we're gonna hit in that European market, which is gonna be great. I mean, I think I'm I really want to, I'm ready for this. Let's go.
Well, I've got businesses that already want to pay for radio slots, so I need to know what the time limits is, what the guidelines is. I need to know what I know Casper, you're running time for hemp, but I need to know if we put this on iHeartRadio with their, I need to know what the guidelines are for me to be able to do this. Also, I have about.
Wait. The guidelines you deal with me. I am the station. iHeart doesn't give it. You deal with me.
Sweet. So I need to know what the guidelines are. At the same time, I also have about 2 other radio stations that are American internet radio stations that got about 8 states and 22 cities that also want to broadcast the show that I can sell the advertising space on too.
Oh, cool.
So, but at the same time, as long as we're broadcasting the iHeartRadio and Time for Hemp and putting those commercials in there too, it should go wonderfully.
Beautiful. I'll send you in the Skype window the new PDF thing that they just cut for the network.
Please do.
It's a brand new sales team. It's for a brand new network.
I like it.
Have you seen our hosts?
I've read your page. I have not. No.
Hello.
Jeff, it's Terry. Hey. How you? Hey, you know what? The show is kind of like we lost one of our guests for some reason, Solar Bowler, and he was going to be like the primary person to talk to and stuff in terms of like a guest. But instead, because of that, I hope you don't mind, but would you just be yourself, and we can just talk about like the dope show and our experience, and then maybe just where we're at now as activists, and then maybe have a topic that we all join in on and talk about and banter and stuff.
I don't know. I've been riding around without a helmet trying to be Gary all night, so I have to shift gears.
Hey, Jeffrey, it's Casper Leach. Happy
What's
Tuesday.
happening, buddy? How you doing?
Fine, thank you. Thank you for being on my network.
You got it, man.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, like.
I got a lot to talk about. I just came back from Denver. I was there for the convention, so that was a big deal.
Okay.
How'd that go?
It was great. It was great. I met some really great activists and stuff from Denver and stuff like that. So it was really
No
cool.
shootings. Nobody getting stomped out. The people running. Nothing like that.
Oh no, that happened. There was a huge flood, and there was a bunch of shooting, kids in trench coats. But other than that, it was great.
You know what? Well, what I think of.
30 seconds.
Okay.
Then we're gonna come back.
Okay, great. All right.
Cool.
I think what I'll do is I'll just like introduce you and just start off with that, the convention,
Okay, cool.
and then backtrack a little bit, and then you know what I mean.
Okay.
Okay.
Want a policy project at 1-877-JOIN-NPP or visit them on the web at npp.org. Thanks.
Welcome welcome back to Hollywood Hempress Hour on the Time for Hemp Network on iHeartRadio. I'm with my co-host Kevin Korn from Hardcore Entertainment, also producer of the show Trips. Welcome back to the show, Kevin.
Thank you.
And we were having an in-depth conversation about the disappointment that we have with President Obama and how it relates to marijuana legalization overall, and about a lot of different things we think is going on. But also, like right now, I kind of want to go past that a little bit and bring my guest. You know what? Sometimes you lose a guest, and sometimes the guest that steps in is even more of a gift. Not to say that the other guest isn't just as important, but this guest that I am going to introduce, on this show today is an individual that, I don't think I would be doing a show right now, doing this on the Time for Hemp Network if it wasn't for, this person. Because they, just out of nowhere, we were friends, and he said, hey, do you want to do a marijuana-themed show? And I was like, oh, well, it's been done before or whatever. I was trying to, not make it about I go, well, let's do it about sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and then, we can, it could be everything. And then because that we were living in Los Angeles at the time, and what was going around about marijuana, we actually, the show became about marijuana, and it became a big deal about marijuana, and we went on a journey together, and it was part of my insight as to how I feel is really going on around the cannabis plant, and why I feel so passionate for its legalization. And anytime anybody is in your life participating in the awareness of your consciousness, you have to give them major props and major love. And I want to bring to, and I hope that maybe in some way I do this for him. I don't know, but it would be nice. And and so I want to welcome to the show Jeffrey Peterson. Welcome.
Terry, what's happening? You're so silly. Yeah, man. The dopest show on earth, which began as the dope show, it still is now in its 7th year, thanks to the bricks we laid at the Ice House long ago.
Yeah, and and what was weird about doing it at the Ice House is we were in the annex, we were in the room where everybody goes, oh well, is that the big? You go, well, I performed at the Ice House. They go, is that the big room or the little room? And you're like, well, I performed in both. There was a stigma as to the big room and the little room. And we did, this show that really rocked the boat in the little room. And
we really did.
Yeah.
We did, and our 4th show, we outgrew the main room. We had to turn people away. And what was funny about that is, if you think about it, Terry, what's great is there are people that were in our show that weren't famous then, but are famous now.
Yeah.
People like Ben Glebe, Owen Benjamin, Adam Hunter, Brad Williams, and the fact that we had members of Drama Rama and Fishbone come by, and Raj from What's Happening was there. We got
Great.
crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And I like too how our first show, there's 13 people in the audience. It was Jay London, Gaio Vilum, and Ludovica. Right from the get-go, we had a transgender comedian in our show, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah. It was, we even had, and we had Richie Stratton, believe it or not, Kevin Gordon. Richie Stratton played a character.
Yeah, Richie Stratton.
What was it? Dickie Rasmussen, where he dressed up in a Boy Scout uniform and told these terrible misogynist jokes while sipping off of a juice box, and people went crazy over it. Crazy over it. And Richie hated it. He hated the character, hated everything about it.
That's awesome. You guys did bring up the annex at the Ice House.
Uh-huh.
I can't ever talk about that without giving a shout out to Bobby Oliver and just big ups to her and everything she's done. So,
she's been on our show. She did the dope show.
She was in our show.
Yeah. Yeah, props out to Bobby Oliver for sure.
yes.
You know, the crazy thing is, I've been banned from the Ice House since 2008 because of the joke show. Bob Fisher, the owner, said very politely to me, "Why don't I take my pot comedy to Hollywood?" And I said, "Sounds like a good idea." So I've been banned from the Ice House. That's usually my first credit now that I use. So, but the fun thing is it pushed me to take what I do to other places. And like I said, I was just in Denver doing some stuff. I mentioned to you guys before the break. I did my first show in Denver, and that was really neat to perform to these people that are just like swimming in legalization. They're loving it.
You know, that's really wonderful. And you know, what a treat to to say, hey, you know, I did this like during this time when legalization was the way it is. I mean, like in a sense, you know, I mean, like I feel like it's like you're participating in history, and then if you get to be the entertainer in that history, then you're part of, you know, that shift of culture, and you know, that's, I think that for me that's fun. Don't you think so?
I think so too, and I think we serve a great purpose in the big scheme of things because it's like, I work with a lot of people that are in the trenches of the human solution and the people that do court support, Joe Grumpine and his gang, and I also, I do a lot of benefits for people that are facing incarceration and stuff, and it's cool that people like you and I, Terry, can bring levity to times that are like so heavy. I mean, because like, after all, it's about pot. So
Right.
let's try to laugh, at the end of the day about this. And that's where I think we come in. I mean, I had the pleasure of performing for Jack Hare many times, and what's great is I still get feedback from people that knew him very closely, and they tell me how much that meant to him. So I think it's great, that we're I consider myself like the court jester to the kings of cannabis. If I can help bring a laughter when they're going through some crazy shit, then awesome.
Wow. I think that's beautiful. I mean, that's what it's really all about. Sometimes how do you make, how do you make happiness happen, or how do you make actual knowledge or shift happen in people? And you think about, like, it's not even just the audience that's within their own demographic. It's like, like recent polls now is, I think it was like 58% of all Americans now believe in legalization in America. That's a large group of people that, if they believe it's legalized, fine, but think about the people that, like, beyond that even, like, think, well, I don't care if it is legal or not, I'd still smoke it, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I mean, what we're doing now is, like, it's permeating into, like, what we would think maybe is a further demographic than we think. And to take that, our, your perception, or my perception, or your experience and my experience, and how, like, the comic mind sees that, and then transforms that into a routine, or to how you speak to people, is almost like being like the preacher of it, in a way, in the shift of what that is. Even though, I mean, it's really like theater actually was born out of, like, religion. They say that the Greek theater was the beginning of, like, church actually really happening. In a sense, we are the church people.
Yeah, I pass around a collection plate after my shows. No one puts money in it, but still, I try.
Really? All right. Well, on that, you know what? We need to take a break. We're at 12:55 an hour. We got a commercial break. We'll be right back for more show. Stay tuned.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to medical marijuana, I have one.
I did a tribute to Jack Aaron this morning on the Time for Him Broadcasting Network. I I started the classics
Uh-huh.
on Time for Him, and I put out the two segments that Jack was on a TV show back to back this morning. So if you want to go to the archives at Spreaker or to iHeart, you'll be able to sit and listen to Jack and I and Captain Ed bantering about the marijuana movement and his work. It was done in 1991. He was the third and fourth guest on the television series Time for Him that Jack talked me into doing, which now has evolved into a global network all around the world.
That was when I met Jack, 1991, at Captain Ed, of all places. Man, they did Jack up in Colorado like crazy.
Okay, well, we're all here. I guess nobody has anything else to say to that.
That was really weird.
I was on talking. I'm sorry.
No, I don't think it had anything. Well, maybe it did. I don't know. That was strange.
Heard some weird ass noise.
Right.
Well, I guess we're going to play the Queen of Nothing tonight because your diva is not going to be.
Well, you know what? I mean, why don't we play it anyways?
Is it a good song?
It's all right. You know, I mean,
if it's not that good, I can find something by cheap.
well, you know what? Can we do that other? I love that. I mean, I know I don't want to like overplay it, but I love that that I Want to Hold Your Hand one.
Oh yeah, I can dig that up and put that on for the second hour. It rocks.
Yeah. Do any? I mean, like you want to play it? Like, yeah, let's do it on that little spot, that little Holly. It rocks. Let's play it on the. I'll do it on the second break on the second break.
I'm a big fan of that Obama commercial that I've only heard once, but it is funny. I know it just started right before Casper cut it off.
Like the way I did that, huh?
That is my favorite commercial. That's my favorite one because that's the only time you're gonna hear a politician go, I'm for legalizing it, other than Well, when mom and pop stores start growing and selling it, it's hard to regulate. That was beautiful.
I play that all over my network.
So Jeff, you know, I have a question. Are you there? Jeff, are you there? Is Jeff there?
I am.
Okay, you know, do you want? I mean, okay, I know we planned the Gary Busey bit. I mean, do you want it? Can we? Let's do it anyways. Can we just set it up as Gary Busey?
Well, you know what? At this point, I got some good stuff to talk about. I'm doing out here in Las Vegas. I have a new comic book I just came out with that I think is going to be rad.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd rather just I mean, I can do Busey another time for sure, but when we just do it like off the cuff, you know what I mean? I'll call in.
Okay, so you'd rather just do it like straight.
Yeah, I'd rather just.
Okay.
There's some catching up I can do that you might not even know about, Terry.
You like comic books?
What?
I said I like comic books.
Yep, well, I got a brand new comic book. We're not on the air yet, though, are we?
No. Let's wait till later. I was thinking like maybe we just like talk a little bit more about like your experience in Colorado, and then kind of transition to like maybe a group discussion about a topic of which I was wanting to talk about, like vaccinations.
I really don't have much to say on vaccinations, but I guess
Right. Right.
All right, well, we're going to come back here in about 30 seconds.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, for the extra pain caused by doing something incredibly stupid, there's new Imbecile. Only Imbecile provides fast relief from the special pain of being a mindless clod. Imbecile, because it hurts to be a jerk. Also try Imbecile Jr.
President George Bush, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas.
Many famous Americans, including prominent conservatives, have used marijuana. None were arrested, and all have lived successful lives.
President Bill Clinton, Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Is it fair to arrest 750,000 people a year for doing what presidents and a Supreme Court justice have done?
Visit Marijuana Policy Project Foundation, www.joinmpp.org, or call toll-free 1-877-JOIN-MPP.
Thank you for listening to Hollywood Hempress Hour on the Time for Network on iHeartRadio. Right now I have in studio, well, kind of like in studio. We're all in our own private studios in front of our, either a computer or cell phone, but we're all tapped into the same program, which makes it even more cool. It's our virtual studio that we might have in our minds. I want to welcome back to the show Kevin Korn. Thank you for listening and for being here.
Yeah, me and Marley are glad to be here. That's my dog.
Well, that's nice. I'm glad that Marley's with us too. Kevin Korn is from Hardcore Entertainment. Also produces Trips, which is a show that North Blatt, Forrest Gwynn, and Kevin Korn are doing. We travel around different parts of the country, do stand up, and then talk about our experience being there, kind of in a behind the scenes sort of thing. And one thing that kind of correlates between our experience where we went to in Salt Lake City, because we went to the Comic-Con convention, but not only that, but our guest Jeffrey Peterson also is also involved in the comic book industry, and has created several of his own characters, and some of them are also marijuana themed characters as well. So Jeffrey, can you tell us what your character, what's it all about?
I sure can, and since your listeners are all over, you're talking to me, and I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada right now. So.
And what are you doing in Las Vegas, Jeff?
I live in Las Vegas.
I didn't know you moved to Las Vegas.
I know. See, that's why I wanted to catch up with you. I've been living here for the last about 7 months, and I brought the Dope Show here 2 weeks ago. It was very successful. I've always wanted to bring it to Las Vegas, and so. We had 2 big shows with Medicinal Michael and Juan Durso.
Oh my God!
And yeah, and it was really pun intended. It was a huge hit. And but Vegas has been great. Vegas has inspired me a lot. I've been doing the casinos out here, the local scene and stuff. And so what I just did in Denver was debuted my brand new comic book. Called Super Stoners, and we're again bringing some levity to this crazy battle that we're in. And my brother Dan and I had a magazine called California X.
Yes.
For 3 years, where we featured adult film stars, spoke a lead, and that kind of painted me in a dark corner. People started throwing around with them like the Larry Flint of weed and stuff. So I'm shifting gears now, and now I'm going to be considered the Stan Lee of weed. So that's my new goal.
Well,
it went great though. I brought my character Sheepman and Prison Face out there. Tommy Chong was out in Denver. Radical Russ. I did an interview with Sheepman. It was really fun. So I'm excited that there is a genre of comic books for stoners, because there's a whole slew of other people that have done it, and I'm excited to be part of that new wave that's happening.
Well, that's great. Kevin and I also, did it. We did a documentary at the Comic-Con in Salt Lake City, Utah, and we shot behind the scenes footage and stuff like that. Of the trip, and then commented, our experience of what it was like to be in Salt Lake City with, how that state is, and with, the dominant Mormon religion, and in juxtaposed to the comic book world. There was only one guy, Jeff. There was one guy that I saw dressed as a marijuana person character going into the building, and I took a picture of him.
Well, he's a brave guy, because I was on a bus last night coming through Utah, and that made me nervous.
Yeah.
Utah is scary, man. Utah, if they seceded from the Union, I'd have no problem, because they're kind of, I don't know what's going on in Utah, but they're way set back in a different time and an era of, just Pioneerville. It's almost like the people there, forgot that this country progressed. So it's really scary.
Well,
but that must have been for that guy to dress up like that.
Yeah, I mean, he was, and I couldn't find him inside the building at all. I'm like, where'd the weed guy go? But Kevin found him. Kevin, you said you saw him there, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So because I thought they're not gonna sell him a ticket. I mean, because to me, my feeling is that
we actually took him in.
uh-huh.
Me and Alex, we saw him on the side of the like where the Comic-Con was being held, and we talked to him, and he was having problems getting in, and we kind of laughed and said, "We'll get you in," because we had all these press passes. So we just walked him right in, and no one said a word.
Well, that's a groundbreaking thing, and it's kind of cool out here in Las Vegas. You guys may be familiar with Fremont Street.
Yeah.
It's a big strip. Well, there's a lot of people that dress up like costume characters. Now there's about 3 different people that dress up in cannabis-related ones. There's Mr. Weedman, there's Captain Weedman, and then there's a big giant joint named J Joint. So it's kind of neat. You see people interacting with tourists, and there's, and then in between that, there's undercover cops that come up and try to solicit to you.
So, but it's kind of groundbreaking that you're doing a weed show in Vegas, because like Vegas has always been known to be part of like the part that distracts people, You know what I mean? It's like alcohol and, give us your money. Well, what? You start to smoke weed, you're like, well, maybe I don't really want to gamble right now. I feel really connected to the stars, I mean, what do you feel about that?
Well, I think it is groundbreaking, and I think the neat thing is I think, Nevada and Las Vegas in general are on the cusp of really bringing dispensaries and the whole cannabis culture, but they just don't know how to do it yet.
Uh-huh.
There is talk that there's going to be allowed 40 dispensaries here. And we also have on the freeway, we have a billboard that says Dr. Reefer to get your, referrals. So it's pretty funny, that Vegas has a tug of war. Maybe some of the older kind of, like traditional type people that are from Vegas don't want to see that happen. But the people that are younger and the people that come here to visit, they want cannabis here like crazy. The tourists, if I just wear a marijuana-related T-shirt, tourists will come up and like solicit me and ask me, "Hey, where's the weed?" So
yeah.
They want it. We just got to find a way to get it to them. So it's cool.
Well, but people come from all over. From all over the states, United States to Vegas, but the world too. It's and so it's interesting for you to comment that that everybody's attracted to where the weed is. Maybe this is like a global symbol, sort of.
And what's interesting too is there's even like promotional T-shirts and like magnets and shot glasses and stuff with marijuana leaves that say Las Vegas. So they're even marketing to the stoner community, and it's just a matter of time.
I wonder if it's because it's the community that has the money.
Yeah,
let's get this down. They're just doing it because obviously it's something that has there's an influx of something happening. Come on, they're mafia, right?
I'm sure there's some shenanigans going on, but if they could just get wise and make the correlation between the dispensaries and the buffets, we're gonna go crazy. This town's gonna be nuts.
Well, but why not? Why wouldn't Vegas just like full on out like just legalize it? If it's like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. To think that there isn't any decadence going on and there's no weed involved in it. Come on.
It's a lot of like external revenue. I lived in Vegas for about a year, and I had a guy that was my like pot dealer, and I lived in and out of hotel rooms while I was there, because I was only there for a year. That's the only reason I stayed there for a year, because they kept giving me hotel rooms. And my pot dealer one night came to my door, literally knocked on my hotel room door. I opened it up, and he was beat the hell up. Like bloody, beat up, like he looked beat up. And he came in, he sat down, he started telling me what happened. Sure as shit, we turned on the TV. His house was on the news. He was on the news. And as it turned out, a lot of the weed he sold came from California. Literally was taken there, brought to California, and he sold it. It was like done almost old gangster style, like where people came, dropped it off, yada yada. But then there was this guy that came from California, just got released out of prison, but he was running around Vegas, and he was robbing all the pot dealers. Like literally kicking open doors, beating people out, holding them to gunpoint. And this was on the news, and it was just weird. And my pot dealer was one of the guys that got robbed by this guy. And it was so weird because I realized that none of it actually happened or came from Vegas. It was all coming from surrounding states to Vegas. So as much as Vegas attracts everybody as far as tourism, it also attracts everybody as far as criminals. And
Yeah.
so I assume that's why they don't legalize drugs there, because if you had dispensaries all over Vegas, I assume they'd just be getting robbed left and right.
Well, you know, you'd be surprised in this day and age. You know, in 2013, I know people with legal grow-ops here. People that have you know, their own grow operations that are, you know, fully above board and everything. So there is probably less likelihood of that kind of like insanity, because in just probably 6 months there's going to start to be these dispensaries, and there's going to be 40 of them. And people are putting their bids in, and it's going to be, you know, the money you're going to make in Vegas with one of these dispensaries is going to be huge, because people are foaming at the mouth for it, you know. And Vegas is just better on THC. Everything's better on THC, but especially Vegas.
That's true.
Those pretty lights look a lot better when you're kind of, you know, blurry. But, you know, I have a lot of fun out here, Terry. We got to get you to come out here and perform.
I would love to. We got to get you to come out here too. You know.
And you know what? I had a great convo with Radical Russ, and there were a bunch of people actually from Oregon and Vancouver, Washington, and Olympia that were saying, when are you coming back? So I said, Terry and I need to bring the Dope Show back to Portland, and now this time maybe take it to Seattle.
Yeah, I mean,
talk about that.
we should really talk about that, because you know, like I'm actually in Vancouver, Washington right now, living.
That's
So,
awesome.
you know, I'm on the border of Portland, so I can go like both ways. But like Seattle, I mean, I think Washington's a real fertile ground to start to do some marijuana themed shows. Being that, you know, it's the first state to regulate it legally, and you know, when does that spill over into entertainment, and when does that spill over? I think at first it's bars that, you know, that haven't crossed over to being like, you know, cafes or smoking joints. But, you know, but there's still the audience that does it wants to like to experience it anyways, or be a part of that group.
Well, let me tell you what was really refreshing, guys, was I've never been to Colorado, never been to Denver, and I was really excited to go check this out. The neatest thing was people, just average people, don't give two craps about pot. I mean, like the people walking down the street, there's nobody like looking at anybody like cross-eyed or anything like that. It was really refreshing to see a whole community of people that just, it's a non-issue. It really was a non-issue up there. It wasn't so much that they embraced it, they just didn't care. It was really cool. And I went down to the Chiba Hut and hung out for a minute, and it was cool because there's a Chiba Hut there, which is like a Subway sandwich shop, but all the food items are marijuana themed. Like, you know, one of the sandwiches is the blunt or the kind or the chronic. And what's neat is obviously the staff were cannabis users, and they had a little bar there behind it. So it was a whole bunch of people that were kind of just celebrating life, but around a marijuana themed.
The Chiba Hut franchise is actually owned by Tommy Chong, and also was the very first franchise sandwich shop that actually toasted their subs. That was before Quiznos. Just a little random fact about Chiba Hut, because I'm a big Chiba Hut fan.
It was good, man. Yeah, and so I really, you know, I dig where that's going. I've always been about the pop culture aspect of cannabis, and the trade show champs that I was at. It's so great to be able to be invited to something like that and then go meet like the CEOs and the people that make the products that we use in our daily lives. The guys that blow glass and the guys that make these great vape pens and stuff. That was really neat. And so this is a movement that on the legalization side keeps going, but just from pop culture, it hasn't even come close to its apex. Because people in the middle of the country are like, they've never dabbed before. They don't know what it's like to do a dab. They don't have vape pens everywhere like we do in the West. So it's kind of neat. There's a lot to teach these people.
Yeah, it's definitely has its own vibe, and the fact that to experience it and also even to document it, it's like, it's almost a continuation of. I mean, do you feel that it's almost a continuation of like what happened with the hippies in the 60s?
Yeah, I think so too. But what I think is beneficial for us is the people that were there in the 60s are now in their late 60s and 70s.
Uh-huh.
So they are the people that are going to change this movement, because when grandmas and grandpas demand their weed, something's going to give.
That's great. You know what, Jeff? We're going to have to come back in just a moment. It's 1:17 and we got to go to the commercial, but we'll be right back on that thought. Thank you so much.
Cool.
Okay, you can chat amongst yourselves. Want to do the song this time or after the next break, Tara?
You know what? Let's put it in now.
All right.
Yeah. I'll just kind of finish our thought on like what we were just talking about, and then I'll just go into that, and then
Or want me to just play it after break and have you come in to straight after the song?
Oh, we could do that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So, Terry, I give you one more segment with this one.
Okay.
Okay? Cool. Beautiful.
And Jeffrey, have you heard the song I Want to Hold Your Hand by the Fuxtitos?
I've heard by the Beatles. I haven't heard by someone else, no.
Oh, you'll love. You're a Beatles fan too, aren't you?
Yeah, sure.
But you'll love the detail given to the presentation of this particular piece. One of the fun things about doing Terry's shows is you can have fun.
Well, if you're not having any fun, what's the point, right?
Oh, right. Jeffrey, I share with you. The reason why I wanted Terry Joyce to be on the midnight shift is that at the end of the evenings in America and in Canada, we have a nice lineup of people who are talking about marijuana and paper, all from Canada and America, and maybe from New Zealand, a couple of places like that. But then we've also got places in Amsterdam and Paris and Germany that are going to be doing broadcasting on the network as well.
Yeah.
And like right now, we've got a French version of Time for Hemp being broadcast out of Paris, France every Friday morning, 4 a.m. Pacific Standard, which is their afternoon. And so the European market gets a chance to fall in love with Terry Joyce as well. So as we come out of the evening market of the Canadian-American audience, we enter the afternoon and early evening market of the Europeans. And that way, everybody gets the chance to put a hug around Terry Joyce.
I often put a hug around Terry Joyce. She doesn't know it all the time, but I'm hugging her.
That's nice. No, you know what? I mean, and I would love to do like some stuff with you, Jeff. I mean, and anytime like you want to plug anything that you are doing, let's cross promote and stuff. I mean, and
Sure.
and I think our stories part of it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like, I mean, look, indeed. I mean, like, like just think about like the circle of artists. Um, I'd like to talk about your comic strip more too before you go.
Yeah.
Okay, and
What's cool about it is I put real people that I know in the cannabis movement in there, and I'm gonna kind of poke at the cannabis movement from the inside out. It's gonna be fun.
Well, make sure you put me in there poking fun at me. I mean, if you listen to my openings on my segments on my show, you can almost lip sync with me. I mean, I do them almost verbatim.
Well, we hung out a little bit at where was it? Was it in
Toronto, when they flew me up there to be a guest speaker at the Toronto Hemp Expo. Okay, now here we go. You gotta listen to this song. It's fantastic, Jeff. It's fantastic.
we're back at Hollywood Hempress Hour on the Time for Hemp Network. We're also broadcasting over iHeartRadio. Kevin, my guest Kevin Korn is with me from Hardcore Entertainment. Kevin, I think we lost Jeff.
What?
I think we lost Jeff. Like I don't see him on our Skype 3 area. So I think we have to like call him back. So it's just like you and me for a moment.
Sure.
Oh, but you know what? I was gonna like talk to him about his comic book characters in more detail. And
Yeah, I was interested in his comic book strip. Considering that we just came back.
Hey, there he is. Welcome back, Jeff. We lost you for a moment.
Yeah, I'm back. I had to do a line of coke off a stripper's ass. I am in Vegas. Oh, I'm just kidding.
Oh man, I'm staying at your house next time I visit, buddy.
No, I had to double down on gas at the table. So, no, I don't gamble in Vegas. The only place I gamble in Vegas is at the buffet. So be careful.
That's great. Well, we're great to have you back. I wanted to ask you to give more detail about your comic books and your comic book character and Sheepman. And hasn't Sheepman even been at Burning Man? I mean, there's a whole history to Sheepman, right?
Yeah, Sheepman was in your show when you had your original show in the annex over there at the ice.
Oh, Terry Joyce's Cheap Thrills. Wasn't that what it was? Yeah, I mean, because Vic Dunlap was...
He stopped the guy that was on the telephone in the middle of your show.
Yeah.
Sheepman threw him out. That was awesome.
That was freaking...
Sheepman, been around for 13 years. I've been, he's an oxymoron. It's like, who would want to be a sheep for a superhero? So, first of all, but chicks seem to dig him. He's got a pink cape, and I think that sends a message to women that I'm kinky, and chicks dig that. So, the cool thing is, Sheepman's had some TV time. I've been on the TV show Oblivious on Spike TV, where Sheepman met Stan Lee in person. That was really cool.
Wow.
And, yeah, and recently Sheepman was on an episode of TNT's Perception. So, he's been getting a little TV time. Sheepman's performed with the Cottonmouth Kings on stage last Halloween. He's performed at HempCon. So I think it was a natural progression. I needed to document it in a new comic book form. What was really cool is I take people that I know in the cannabis movement, and I kind of have fun with their caricature, if you will. For example, Cha Cha Va Boom from the 420 Nurses gets kidnapped in the first issue. Henry Hemp's evil clone, Hank Hemp, makes an appearance. Henry Hemp has an evil clone, yeah. And then there's my buddy, the Weed Wizard, which is this guy, OG Gangster, who goes to shows. People usually think he's a leprechaun. He's about 4.5 feet tall, and he wears a big green top hat. So these are all real people. And so in coming up issues, I'm going to have New Jersey Weed Man in there. I'm going to have just a variety of like the bands that I know in the cannabis movement and stuff, and the people at random. I'm just going to throw people in there, and it's fun because it's a comic book. I can make fun of people and not hurt too many feelings because it's a cartoon.
Well, don't you think that cartoons get away with a lot? I mean, if you look at like The Simpsons or the Family, Guy, and I mean, all of them are South Park. I mean, the South Park did an episode on the NSA, and I was like, I was blown away as where they were going to, and I'm like, holy wow. I mean, and they took it to, it's like, yes. I mean, like as Oscar Wilde said, the only way to tell the truth and not get assassinated is to be funny.
I mean, the cool thing is too is like my background before long before comedy I was an animator for 16 years. I worked on X-Men and Batman and Fantastic Four, My Little Pony, all that stuff. And now, so I'm kind of going back to my roots. And what's great is there's a built-in market for it. I mean, like Ziggy Marley has a comic book called Marijuana Man. Another guy, Green Reefer. Henry Hemp has this comic book. And so there's really starting to be this kind of stoner geek genre coming up, a kind of a subculture of people that like to do the cosplay thing and put on costumes and get weird and dig the comic books. So I'm excited about that now there's these little subcultures of the cannabis movement. You know, that's going to be great. The next thing we're going to have is, you know, a big, you know, canna costume party. You know, a bunch of people in costumes that smoke weed.
Right. Well, I mean, I find it fascinating that, you know, I mean, because it seemed like, didn't, like, Jack Hare and Captain, you know, like, I can't, like, I'm spacing right now. He had the, didn't they write a cartoon together?
Yeah, Captain Ed.
Yes, Captain Ed.
Yeah. Yeah, Jack's first book, Grass, had some great illustrations in it and cartoons. And, like, you know, I'm influenced by the Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers.
Yeah.
And really, more than anybody, I'm influenced by Blunt Man and Chronic. I mean, Kevin Smith is the pretty much quintessential stoner geek. And so I think if we can get Kevin Smith on board with this stuff, you know, it'd be great. You know, just while I got you here, I was just going to tell you a great anecdote. You know, I got to see Tommy Chong again in Denver, and I hadn't seen him for a while. But the neat thing was, Tommy does have a pretty good memory, and he recalls that when he was in prison, I was sending him letters, but I would do these little doodles of Sheepman comic strips for him. And when he got out of prison, he contacted me and said, "Hey man, thanks for the letters in the Sheepman comics, man. Those were really cool." So when I saw him again, I said, "Hey man, remember those comic strips I used to send you in prison?" He's like, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, now it's a comic book, dude." And he's like, "Oh, it is." So that was kind of fulfilling to have that as part of the history of Cali Chronic Comics to now, like, come full circle. So I intend to not only do comic books that I draw and illustrate and write, but I want to publish other people's ideas. So if Terry Joyce wants to make a Hollywood Hempcrest comic book, well, I'm the guy you come to.
Well, you know, I've been thinking about it. Actually, it's funny that you say that. Because, you know, I've got that little caricature that I've drawn, you know, had drawn for the logo for the show, and I always kind of like, I go, wow, what if she was animated, you know, and had a whole, you know, scenario of stuff.
In your travels, did you run into any companies? Did you run into another? I mean, in your comic travels, going to get your comic book made, did you ever take it to any other comic book companies or companies to try to get it produced or published? And how did that go? Because I have a cousin who's very big in the comic book world who actually owns his own comic book company himself called Unibrow Comics.
Oh wow! Well, that's really neat.
He used to work for DC, and then he worked for Dark Horse for a couple of years. And when he wanted to make his own comic book and his own comics, he found it very hard going through the mainstream. So he ended up getting together with some other artists, and they ended up coming up with their own comic book line and starting their own comic book company, which is how me and Terry actually got to the Salt Lake City Comic Con 2013 to get to film that documentary and do that movie for them.
Yeah.
It's because my cousin was part of that, and he actually brought us on.
That's really cool.
Which was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm definitely interested in spreading, you know, the brand of Super Stoners. But the neatest part is you know, having successfully published Cali Chronic X magazine, I really saw this as an opportunity for us to rebrand ourselves, my brother and I, because my brother does all the graphic arts.
Awesome.
And by making Cali Chronic Comics, I really have an umbrella here where I'm going to hopefully, you know, get set up with this distribution company. But I want to be the guy that people come to when they want to make their comic book dream come true. Because there are people like Terry. You have like a cartoon caricature of yourself. There's a lot of companies that have come to me that want to take their mascot or their logo and then turn it into a comic strip in a comic book. So that's the kind of stuff I'm going to be doing. I do connect with. There was one comic book company at the Champs Convention, and they're from Sacramento, or actually San Francisco. They're called Golden Frog Press, and they do the Tales of the World Famous Rise of Blue Bud. So they do cannabis comic books too, and which proves to me there's a market for this, and I want to tap into those comic book reading sci-fi geeks that's what fun,
Yeah, I think that there's definitely a culture out there for it, and it's been done for a while now, but it's cold, it's underground still. I mean, like, yes, we have Kevin Smith who started to cross over with it, thank God, and it's about to boom. I think with the shift of everything that's going on, it's like riding the cusp of something that it's like having it in place for when it happens. It's like, they say that, the tobacco companies already have their labels ready to happen when they can market marijuana on a massive level. Everything's in place for the potential of. And, like we're getting really, really quick for the fire's already lit in terms of creating creative content.
As much as I want the legalization of marijuana to happen,
Uh-huh.
I don't see it being a great thing unless they're going to legalize other drugs after it. Because the way I see it is right now it's such a big business for other countries in the state of America, or in the country of America. For opposing countries, marijuana's a big business in America for them. So if we cut them off, I only see them pushing harder and worse drugs. And then they're going to do it for cheaper. They're going to make the drugs stronger, push them for cheaper to create to create an addiction, to create a base or a market, and then they're going to sell those. And
All right, I hate to cut you off here, Kevin, for a second, but we have to take a really quick commercial break, and we're going to be right back. I'm sorry. We'll be right back. Shit, I didn't mean to be so abrupt. We get in so much in a flow of something, then all of a sudden the minute comes up, and it's like,
That's only when I talk, Terry.
When we come back, can I just say a couple things and then say, like, thanks for having me on the show?
Sure, absolutely.
Only because, oh my God, you'll appreciate this. I got on a bus yesterday from Denver at 12 noon. I didn't get to Las Vegas until 10:30 this morning.
Oh my God.
You were at Greyhound?
Yeah, the bus broke down. The bus broke down at Grand Junction, and I waited 7 hours.
Oh my God.
That's horrible, man.
Tales from the road.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean,
I've Greyhounded from California to Florida and back on more than 2 occasions.
Oh my God, you've got way more stamina than I. As soon as I got to about Texas, I would have lost it midway through the country.
What'd you say, Casper?
I'm a member of the Mile Long Club.
Oh
I stood up that Greyhound bus and I lasted a whole mile with my partner. Well, anyway, I'm a member of the Mile Long Club.
I've taken a 3-state journey on a Greyhound that I had 2 stops and actually had to switch buses, and it took me 2.5 days. And I got on that bus without $1 in my pocket or any food in my bag. I was starving, cold, and broke. And I got fed and ended up going home with a blanket, which I still own to this day because I keep it as a reminder of what's out there, of the people that are out there, and the good people that are out there. To be honest, she was like a stripper hooker who was going from one town to the next because she was being sold from one town to the next. And she bought me my meals and bought me a blanket, which was kind of awkward, but still amazing.
I'll tell you what, there's some great Greyhound stories. When I was 9, the first I was traveling by grade. My parents used to throw me on the bus when I was way too young. My first Carl's Jr. experience, we stopped at a bus at a stop in like Blythe, California or something, and I didn't have any lunch except like a packed sandwich or something. This lady's like, "Sweetie, you're going and you're gonna have some Carl's Jr. with me." So this lady took me under her wing, and I was like,
Yeah, well, that's the Greyhound, man. That's what I call petting a puppy.
yeah. It's almost like people.
Did you have to hit the old raisin afterwards?
You're gonna have to hit the what afterwards?
Did you have to hit the old raisin afterwards to pay for your meal?
The old raisin? I don't know what that is.
The
I
old
don't know that.
raisin, little raisin, like it used to be a grape, now it's a raisin. It's a little spot on your leg.
No, I didn't do that.
That's what you call little ladies' part, a raisin.
Oh, well, I do old ladies. Yeah, I'm a guilt hunter.
All right, yeah, they're all scribbled up and they're all.
I have those stories too, Casper. We'll save those for another time.
Hey, I went on to the nursing home of by Agronot.
I can tell you about this time where I actually was on a Greyhound bus and I got left at the Arizona Phoenix Greyhound station. And I told this lady to come pick me up. This lady I had met like back when I was in Phoenix at this club. She was a little bit older. Let's just say she was a little bit older. And she came and picked me up from the station, took me back to her house, took me out to eat. While we were out to eat, we went into this little like burger place where all these high school girls were working, and they were like kind of hitting on me. And they're like, "Is this your mom?" And she got offended and goes, "No, I'm not his mom." And then they gave me the weirdest looks. Yeah, I still had to go home and hit that, but it was awkward.
Hey, I love hitting moms and grandmas because usually I walk away fed and with a little bit of money in my pocket.
A cell phone gave me $50. Bought me a new cell phone, gave me $50. Paid for my bus ticket to get back to Portland. It was amazing.
And even sent you home with brownies. How sweet.
Right?
Yeah.
She called me
Sugar
from
mama
that
does.
when I got
Sugar
home.
mama
I
does
never
that.
answered, but it was awkward.
Education, information, see what all the buzz is all about. It's time for him. It's time for him.
Well, welcome back to Hollywood Hempress Hour. You saw I just came in a little bit too early on the last moment. When you're starting out at first a show for the first time, you're kind of like getting used to how the beats come in. But I'll probably still screw up even like on the 40th show. So stick with me, people. I'm gonna say it's probably part of the charm. Anyway, welcome to Hollywood Hempress Hour on the Time for Hemp Network. This is iHeartRadio, and my guest today at night is my good friend Jeffrey Peterson, and former co-creator and producer of the Dope Show that we did many years ago, and he's gone off to become the dopest show on earth, and creating cartoons, and now bringing cannabis related shows to Las Vegas. I mean, just like it just goes on and on. So, and if anybody's tuned in the last hour, Jeff was actually supposed to do a comedy bit tonight. But because we lost our first guest, he actually stepped in and did a much longer show after having a really, really long, being up for hours. And so I just want to give you an extra thank you for staying overtime and switching gears from what we previously had planned.
This explains to your audience why I'm not funny.
No, you're totally funny.
Oh my God.
No, and you know what? Here's the thing. I like it to be. I mean, we're funny, but also I like honesty, and I love to hear, why you do it, why you're involved, the things that you see, the culture that you observe, and your insight is only that of which is yours, and so it's good. I'm glad that we have a forum and for which you to express it in. So, if anything, I hope that got out there in the airwaves and in like the archives of like the internet that some guy that lives like, living 40 years past now, like goes, oh my God, what Hollywood Hempress Hour, Jeffrey Peterson and Terry Joyce, and he listens to this. And he goes, wow.
That will be awesome.
Right.
That'll be awesome too, especially because he'll be doing it from a spaceship, like zooming around the globe. Um, the crazy thing is, I just wanted to let you know before I go, I had such a great time in Denver. Have you performed up there, Terry?
No, I haven't yet.
We should do something together up there because it was people were so gracious, and I was really taken aback at how many people came up to me and were like, "I've been a fan of yours for years. We've been wanting you to come to Denver." So that was gratifying, and I just want to say to all the people of Denver that were just so cool. Thanks, you guys, because I'm coming back in December. It's so good, you know. And that's where I'm at right now. I want to really check out places like Colorado and Washington State to see like who's doing it right and be part of some of that because I've been in the trenches as like an activist comic for so long. I'd love to just be an entertainer and like go to some places and perform where the situation is pretty much handled.
Yeah.
It would be just cool, just to, So that's my next area of exploration is mingling with the people that have done it right, Because not that I'm not going to be helping the people I already helped, but it's just it becomes a heavy thing because sometimes we get put in a weird position. Sometimes if you do a benefit for normal, someone will be mad that you did that, and then if you don't do normal, you do American for Safe Access, and some other people will be upset that you. And all we're trying to do is be comics and help people out.
Right. It's interesting how there's these camps and these different sides that sometimes I feel it almost reminds me of the same thing that happens with clubs. Like one book over here is like this book over here. If you work for him, you can't work for them. It's the same thing with like some of the stuff that exists within that community. Yeah, it's kind of like so you just keep going. You keep knowing, like, keep your eye on the prize, I guess. Knowing like what you're doing, and that it really ultimately it really isn't about that. And it's like I think now that we're like because it's becoming more mainstream, we have more of an opportunity to actually do real business venues and it's not necessarily organization by organization or nonprofit by nonprofit. Relationship. It's on people that are wanting to like bring in a new form of entertainment for those people that are part of that culture or part of whatever. I mean, like, because like the audience that's going to listen to like what's about marijuana is the same audience that is going to probably maybe be listening to Bill Hicks too. I mean, there's if you look at everything like culturally from like like the beatnik culture to like to like whatever that is, marijuana has been part of it. If it's not just all about marijuana, it's still the same thought processes. It seems like people who smoke weed get a certain thing, whether they're smoking it currently or not. Once you've smoked it, you've seen it, and you can't go back from what you've originally seen, really.
Yep, it comes down to it's a freedom issue, really, and that's where people should be at. And I can say this though, it's a viable, marketable aspect of comedy because the dope show, the two that I did here, I did one on Wednesday at Lucy's Lounge and I did one on Saturday at Joker's. Both shows were packed, and that's the first time I've ever brought it to Vegas. So it just goes to show, especially in these markets where the issue is still a hotbed issue, that's where we can, come and bring like, comedy and entertainment to the people that, deal with the heavy stuff.
Well,
I
anytime.
like to do the heavy lifting.
I
like to bring the sacks.
Not to be a shameless plug of my own self, but anytime that you need you need me, or I mean, I'd love to like be a guest sometimes, or be able to perform in your have a slot, in that slot that you fill in that slot for, and come in, because
We can definitely make that happen because I've always loved having you in any part of the stuff I do, and it's people people love you everywhere, and it's really cool. You bring fun energy. That's why I've always loved doing stuff with you, and you have a perspective and a viewpoint that is abstract, and I like that about you.
Thanks.
So,
Yeah, I mean that.
um,
That'd be fun. And so like before we go, I mean, because I know like we are actually coming to the end of the show, and I want to like have like just find out like where people can find your stuff at online, and and where they can follow you.
well, I'm all over the Facebook, and I got a YouTube channel, the 420 Comic. I'm on Twitter, the 420 Comic, at the 420 Comic, Instagram, all that stuff. But I'm going to be doing some different stuff with the comic book pretty soon, probably on the cottonmouthking.com website. But I have to shift gears to a buddy of mine, the King of Pot. I don't know if you guys know about him, but he passed away about 3 weeks ago.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
A bunch of stuff. So yeah, so shout out to Michael Alfonso.
I don't mean to interrupt. He was going to be doing the news broadcast with me Monday through Friday, and when he passed away, I couldn't bring myself to do the global news broadcast, and I moved out the weekends, and it just left a horrible hole. So yes.
Yeah, I recommend you look into him, Terry. We put a tribute page in there, but Michael Alfonso and I we're doing a bunch of stuff together. So
I had a small amount of interaction with him. Like we had communicated through Linked a little bit, and and everything. So I mean, I like we phone tagged each other a little bit, but I didn't. That was all the only contact that I had. I'm just shocked. What was it? What?
It's shocking. He had a heart attack.
Oh my goodness.
He's only 51, and he's going to work on a documentary called East Meets West, and we're still probably going to release that probably around the beginning of the year. So, but not to bring the show down, but hey, Michael, we love you up there. Long live the KFC.
Yeah.
And I've been in discussion too to maybe do I want to do some legacy comics about do some graphic novels about Jack Hare, and about Michael, and about some people that that are no longer with us. We can tell their stories through this medium, through graphic novels. So I'm going to be working on that too. That was probably my next big project. And thanks for having me on the show, guys. The only live thing I can plug is I'll be in California at the Ontario Improv with Stella Rob November 24th. But other than that, I'll be bouncing around Vegas doing some spots and stuff. So, Harry, we got to get you out here. We'll talk about that on the side.
Okay.
And Casper, thanks for having me on the show, man.
Man, it's nice to be in touch. I like your expression.
You too, buddy.
Man, thank you, Jeff. I mean, thank you for being on the show. And also.
And, I'll send you guys copies of the comic book, so hit me up with your addresses, okay?
Okay, I will for sure. All right.
Talk to you guys soon.
Okay. Bye. So that was Jeffrey Peterson, a stand-up comedian, and probably he's the 420 comic. And he's been producing shows for a really long time, and all the different hemp cons, and it's really now he's bringing it to Vegas. So we're really happy to have him on the show. Kevin, we are at the end of our evening. This is the last. We're at 1:55. We have to say goodbye. I think everybody knows where to find us, right? Where can they find us, Kevin?
They can find us at Trips on Facebook, Hollywood Hemptress, Ustream, Freedom of Choice, Hardcore Entertainment. They can go any one of those spots, whether they Google it, Facebook it, put it in their Yahoo, their MSN, they're going to find us.
Right. And we're also on Time for Hemp and at iHeartRadio.com and TimeForHemp.com. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you tomorrow night.
You can send it out, rocking and reeling, let them know that we are kicking ass here at the Global Broadcasting Network of Time for Him. Thank you for letting me be part of your show occasionally too.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. And I'm sorry about the guest thing. I feel like it was
Oh,
you know, but I still felt we improved, right?
We did, and you're gonna have to work with me. When Sasha runs the board, he runs it perfect. There might have been a time when I think you were mute when you shouldn't have been, about a minute, but I don't know. I'll find it and take out the blank spots. No one will know when it goes up on Twitter and iTunes and all the other stuff.
Okay.
But no, I'm serious. I have so much fun with your show, and I have so much. Because I've learned, look, I'm winging this along the way, Terry. Now, you know, I was just a little show. Now, all of a sudden, it's like life handed me a network and said, go have fun with your friends. And I'm learning all the pops and whistles, too, you know.
Right, and so am I. It's all like it's almost like what old television really was when it was like live and they didn't know how to edit, and it's like I listen to other people's shows, and some of my favorite shows I've listened to on the internet, I've actually had the opportunity to be guests on their shows, but they're not perfect. They have glitches. The camera wiggles. Sometimes the sound goes out. But when you edit all that together, sometimes that's the magic of it, and then you spill it out on the internet, and it becomes a style. Remember when there's like single camera shots because that's all they could afford, became like this single camera shot, more realistic point of view style of filmmaking. And I think that we're kind of like creating our own version of that with its imperfections. The imperfections become its own genre and art form in itself.
We are, and I think we're bringing back old school radio.
Yeah.
Because we are now having to entertain with the theater of the mind, and we're doing a lot of talk, and the music we're bringing is all new and never heard before. We're kind of like the FM. Remember when FM was starting to become all the album records and playing all the acid rock and all the marijuana rock, and so we a time for hemp has become that, and because of our message and the high class people like Judge James Gray and Steve Bloom and all these group people who are coming to the network as well. We are going mainstream, but what we're doing is historic, and our message is unique. Isn't that cool?
Yeah. 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 I dig it. I mean, it's definitely it feels that way. It feels like real like it's historical. Like it's like like there's something like I've never been so excited as right now. What?
The energy is amazing.
Well, in my
Yeah.
conversation with Ethan Nadelman, I don't know, do you know who Ethan Nadelman is, Tara?
No.
He's the founder of the Drug Policy Foundation,
Uh-huh.
and he's on CNN a lot, and he's kind of like Keith Strauss, Keith Strauss, the founder of Normal, kind of like one of those things. And Alan St. Pierre also said the word without me even prompting it. I think I've shared this with you. A handful of people have used the word historic, and they pointed out because we got different languages on the same network, and we're going mainstream, the marijuana message, and we're bringing this many people from around the world under the same umbrella, all focused on the same message, showing the whole world we're united, and we got one big cause, that it really is something brand new, something historic. There's nothing else like it out there. They've all Googled it and tried to find something anywhere in another country, in another state, under another roof of some sort, and there isn't. Oddly enough, by accident, this is different than anything's going on right now.
Yeah, I mean,
Those selling advertisements, going at like international companies, because you're doing this internationally. They're going to do network wide rather than show wise, right? We would want to do like products that are related, but that can be sold internationally. And as far as I know, there's only a few. Like there's like the hemp milk which I know is a product that's international, that, that would probably be available.
But what about these sites that have, like, their own hemp products, like, soaps and stuff like that? Can't they be shipped globally?
Well, that, and there's like a lot of companies, like overseas, like in Canada, where they sell the hemp lipsticks and suntan lotions and
Right.
oils, and there's these hemp clothing. We got a Japanese guy who wants to do a program on our show. He said he didn't speak very good English, and I said, good, because I don't want you to. I want you to speak Japanese. He went, why? I said, yeah, we want to reach your country and your language. But he's got a hemp clothing store. And there's hemp foods, there's growing companies, there's light companies, pipe companies,
Right.
fertilizer.
And a lot of those, a lot of those are out of Canada. That was, and I worked for Google and I did Google marketing for 6 years, and I know where a lot of those companies are based. But if we were going for like national spots, there's only a few companies I can even think of in the United States that would be available for approach, and that was kind of my aspect. That was kind of my question on that, and then you kind of answered it with, well, there's these companies out of Canada. Well, I mean, should I approach, like, I know there's a lot of smaller companies and water businesses, but I know they're not going to pay for the marketing, you know what I'm saying? So, I want a lot of these bigger companies, especially when you're getting the amount of viewers and the amount of people already that you're getting network-wide, you would want some of these bigger corporations, and I'm just saying, what type of corporations are you guys going for? Are you looking towards more like, I know it's a radio station, I know, and it's cannabis-driven. Are you only looking for cannabis-derived products, or what if somebody showed up and just said, hey, we want the money, can we buy the time slot?
Bingo.
He said, bingo. I got it.
Another thing too is because cannabis goes with everything. I mean, my God, if you can get off of a nice bomb and roll down to Wendy's and get yourself a munchie, motherfucker. Hello.
Right. No, I agree. There are certain companies and corporations and businesses that are attracted to this sort of thing. Like if you've never seen a Jack in the Box commercial. Dell Computers, for Christ's sakes, had a stoner for years. He just said, dude, you better give it Dell. It's been subliminal messaging and marketing that they've done for years, and now that it's being more widely accepted, I don't see why they wouldn't just want to advertise on these markets, because people who smoke pot still are consumers and still buy stuff.
Well, I just sent you 3,000 ad leads from Treating Yourself magazine.
I just saw that.
And let's see, here's in PDF format. And let's see. Now the problem is I suck at sales. Because I just don't know how to call up and go, hey, aren't I wonderful? Isn't my network just so fantastic?
Fortunately, fortunately for you, that's what I actually.
Kevin is the best.
That's what I actually.
Kevin is the best.
Like surpass him. I love to talk to people on the phone and just pretend I'm fucking.
Okay, now wait a minute. Now you've also got a Google account, right?
Yes, of course.
Okay, hold on. Let's see. BISHOP. Stephanie Bishop sent me 1,000 leads of people in the industrial hemp movement who are currently got products that really need
Marketing.
Yes. Hold on.
That's nice. Those are the type of leads I like, because those are the ones that I call and they give me money constantly. Yeah, I used to do this for Google for 6 years.
No, but then on top of that, here's what I've had up against. I had one guy working for Ed Rosenthal's office who was so busy he could only spend 4 hours a week trying to help me sell, and that never worked.
To be honest, that should have been enough time. Amount of money-wise you're looking at, you make 1 sale, you make 1 to 2 sales a week, you're doing decent.
Yeah, but you're right. But at that time, it was just me as a radio show on American Freedom Radio.
Right.
And now, here's what happened about 4 days before I went to be a guest speaker at the Seattle Hemp Fest. iHeartRadio sent me an email saying they had approved my radio content and gave me station status. Now, well, that's nice. And I went and did my speech at Seattle Hemp Fest, and I came back, and then Spreaker wrote me telling me congratulations, iHeartRadio and us and giving you station status. You're no longer being charged for your account. Your account is free, and as a man, your account is now good until 2023. You have unlimited broadcasting abilities. Enjoy your time with us at iHeart. Well, that's nice. I went and did a big old speech there at the Portland Hemp Fest, came back and said, now, what the fuck do they mean by station status? And about 3 weeks ago, literally about 3 weeks ago, a light came on my head, but motherfucker, my all my friends, say Tara Joyce, Judge Craig, Steve Blue, King Pot, and Carl Olson, and Marilyn Mathry, and blah blah. You want to be a guest, you know, why don't you be a host? I love what you were doing, and you got a chance to raise the voice of the movement, get it, you know. And so I did that, and then within like a week, I had like about 30 people went, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, I want to do that. Fuck yeah. Been with you so long, Casper. You're so well known. All you've been doing is good. Like your content. You got good quality stuff. Fuck yeah. Thank you. So, that's cool. And then turned out that one of our hosts did great website development, and that was this postal guide right when we needed. And then he built this little packet that I just sent you, you know, the little ad format. And he's now just putting the final touches on the website. But he's also developing websites for 2 lawyers on Mondays and Wednesdays, and he's got his hands full on Thursday, so he can't really start making posts until like Tuesday or Friday.
Right.
And then this other lady in Colorado, she's just now learning about us, and she's got her own university that she's all focused on. So I have a brand new network that's like 3 weeks old with 32 fantastic hosts. All of us have 1 million listeners or more. And we're going to explode. And we're already in iTunes, iHeart, Tumblr, SoundCloud. And we really need somebody who can roll up their sleeves and say, motherfucker, you are my priority. We're take this to the top.
I can tell you this. I can probably sell these advertisement space. I mean, not even probably. I know I can. I can sell the advertising space. That's easy. I don't know about rolling up my sleeves, but I have no problem saying, motherfucker, let's do this. My sleeves are normally rolled up because I'm only like 4 feet tall as it is, and if I work my sleeves down, it only makes me look shorter. I like to look like I have 4 arms, and it makes me look like I'm off to work. I would really love, I never say no to opportunity, because opportunity, is if you say no to opportunity, how do you ever go anywhere in life?
Yeah.
With so many of these entertainers, especially comedians, they don't do anything. They get offered the world, and they go, no, I'm just not ready yet. Well, then you're never gonna be ready. Goodbye. Just walk away at that point, because that's the end of their career. That's my whole point. Like, if you get this opportunity, you don't say no.
Right.
I have the opportunity. I tell you what, Casper, give me 7 days. Let's see how many of these I sell. At least 2 spots in the next week. And then after that, let me start selling some more. And then after I do that, let's see if I can start selling them in other languages, because I do speak a few other languages. I think that would be fun too.
That would be fucking awesome.
So if we can sell them in our language and other languages and run them network-wise, that's big money. But the issue is finding the right, for me, like, this is what it's going to take me a few days to do.
Just said 5,000 fucking feet.
I have to do the research, though, and I have to find the businesses that not only have the money to do this, but that it's worth them to do on this network. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of the catch-22, and you got to kind of go through it. But I'm very good at what I do, and because I worked for Google for 6 years, I have some backdoor accounts with Google. I see things the average people can't see on Google. I get analytics and things that you can't even dream of. And I can pretty much tell you, when I look at certain industries, what businesses are hitting and what aren't. And I can pretty much contact those businesses and be like, hey, you're hitting right now. Or I'll go both ways. The ones that are hitting are most likely to give me money. The ones that aren't hitting are most likely to get talked to. They'll give me some money. They're just not going to give me as much as I want.
Well, that also means because of your knowledge and background, you do recognize the unique gem Time for Hemp is, don't you?
Absolutely. Once I told people I was even co-hosting this and doing the after show, doing trips with Terry, people were like, "What's that on?" And I was like, "Oh, well, Time for Hemp and Freedom of Joyce is is iHeartRadio. Time for Hemp," and they're like, "iHeartRadio." They've all heard of it. None of them know what the hell it is, but they've all heard it from somewhere. At some point in time, they've heard it on MTV or wherever, somewhere in their subliminal head. They've heard it. They don't know what it is, but they've heard it. So the second it gets resaid to them, it's like that constant. It's like, oh yeah, I know what that is. I don't really know what that is, but I've heard it before. Yeah, and they just instantly start going, yeah, it resonates, a positive resonation with them. They've heard it. They don't know exactly what it is, but they know they've heard of it. And that's what makes it unique, is because you're such at a ground level with such a unique marketing already set in place. With what iHeart's already done and laid out for you, and then letting you onto their network, that the groundwork's already laid out. You just gotta it's basically math. You're just following a set formula.
You're right. But I'm also doing it with new content that's never been delivered before. So I'm
correct.
I'm a pioneer in that aspect.
And that is what makes it special. And I think, like I said, even just a few times I've been doing this with Terry and I've been on this show, I've been getting random weird friend requests on Facebook. Random, some of my other accounts are getting hit.
Yeah, I'm seeing things really explode in like 1 week in a very, very short amount of time, Casper. One of the things that's been going on is, we started to do this show, and I've actually been Ustreaming me in my room, and so people can watch what's happening behind the preparation, as well as Friday night I dressed up in lingerie. And then I'm spilling it out to where I'm marketing Time for Hemp, radio, all of it, and I'm YouTubing stuff, and we've created a forum called Trips. And we've been doing an after-hour show that I've been live streaming off of my Freedom of Joyce, where we just let it rip. And I'm just filming us on video on Skype, and it's so freaking weird, almost like John. It's got a real realistic effect to it. And we just sit around and talk about subject matters, and we've been spinning what's going on with this, with that, and we've noticed our social networking just exploded in a very short amount of time. We have over 1,000 people, 1,100 people or more in our group right now, and people are requesting to be part of it.
And they're staying. I go to all these other groups on Facebook. There are these groups. They have 100, 200 people, and they're they're solid, dedicated members. We've done this for a week, and we have over 1,100 people that are solid, dedicated. We have people coming in going, "Thank you for adding me. Thank you for inviting me. I'm so glad I found this." It's
boom, and it exploded.
It's just
and we feel like it's all kind of intersecting.
I think it is. I think it has a lot to do with all of this. I think it has to do a lot with the radio, and then the after show. The whole thing is just all intertwining, and it's just.
This tickles the shit out of me, because the guy in France said the same thing. He said that his little marijuana group had gone for 2 or 3 years unnoticed in his country, and had problems getting people to pay attention to their message. And he said, just on my network, just for one night, he got so much attention. And then when he was on again last week, he said, it's unbelievable, their membership just tripled.
Yeah. I mean, I really feel.
Telling me the same thing about the people in Spain and Argentina. So this tickles the shit out of me to hear you tell me this. This tells me I'm being used as a tool for something good in life. So thank you.
Fucking tool, Casper.
it's what are we talking about here? I mean, when, the message of hemp seemed to really kind of be lost in a way. I mean, everybody sort of divided into their little sects. You know what I mean? It's oh, it's medical marijuana. No, it's recreational marijuana. Oh, it's getting high. It's not getting high. Well, what about the hemp part? I mean, I've really had people who I respect and love, and I've worked with on different things, and they said to me, I think even on my show, I might have even been on the air, you're still really into that hemp thing, aren't you? And I'm like, Yeah, I mean, isn't it the whole package? I mean, we're talking about corporate oil, and I mean, it's everything. This is like the
I
legal.
was telling Terry, I actually wrote a proposal. Me and an old Jewish guy here in Oregon City wrote a proposal that we submitted to Oregon City Council here in Oregon City, Oregon, right? For the old paper mill. Because there's an old rundown paper mill right here at the end of the waterfall, which doesn't use any electricity, doesn't cost any money to run because it gets all its power from the waterfall. It's amazing, right? I said we should gut it and use it as a hemp factory. We have all these hemp fields, Eastern Oregon. We could grow hemp, cut, bring to it. I would give all these people back their jobs. You would run the mill. It's self-sustaining as far as power. All it would do is bring money into the community with no money going out. It was just profit all the way. I mean, it was the most sane business idea on the planet. We presented it to the state and Oregon City Council, and you know what they told us? That's federally illegal, and they weren't going to challenge the federal government. And I said, no, it's a state issue. And what's weird is this was 2 years ago. Now, it's not a federal issue in the state of Oregon anymore. Kits Hopper solved that. That's why I know it'll be legal after this next vote. And this mill is still shut down. It's an empty freaking mill with everything in it, right? And nobody working at the bottom of the hill, right at Oregon, the bottom of the hill of Oregon City. It's huge. It's a big empty space. And it's like they could easily turn that into a hemp mill and make paper products, fabric products, any of that. They could be making that, and it's a sustainable business, and all of the power that it takes to run it comes from the waterfall. So you're not using any electricity or there's nobody to pay. I don't get it.
Well, I think that it's time for hemp. It's like let's make this, like, let's make the network happen. And also there's I think there's a certain amount of, like, overall profit to be made, so that all of us can be doing what we're doing and not be uncomfortable for doing it. It's like, right.
That was the other thing, and I think Kevin, you've got to admit, it's generous. Is not the situation that's been put on the table generous?
Yes.
No, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I'll make it happen.
But I mean, I was told by anybody who's come on my board that when I tell them 25%, they're like, "Are you kidding? Usually you only get like 15 or 20%."
Right.
My comment is, I want to treat everybody in love. So if the usual percentage that people get is 20%, then when you come to my family, you get 25.
I'm down. I'll
It's also not just for the fucking sell. That was the other thing. They're going, you mean it's not just the 25% of the initial sell? And I went, no, because that motherfucker renews it next month and the following
It's about residuals. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
The idea is about the residuals. I don't want to sign somebody up to do one commercial.
Yeah.
I want them to sign up and pay me for commercial upon commercial upon commercial. I want them to give me a monthly fee.
And I tell this guy right now, I'm paying right now still $100 every month from 3 years ago, and he hasn't sold anything but that one thing like 3 years ago.
Right.
And Daryl Cotton, every month he renews his advertising, and every month that motherfucker gets his little check.
Right.
The very moment.
And the idea is if you do that enough, it's the residual income.
Yeah.
See, I'm a businessman, so I understand all this.
Yeah.
No issue with it. I'll gladly go ahead and sell it. I'll get the spot sold. That's not going to be an issue for me.
Yeah.
That's actually easy work. It's probably about 8 hours. It's probably about 1 to 2 days of me actually spending the time on Google, going over this list and making the phone calls.
Plus there's like
Once I make the phone calls and I talk to people, they're going to be more than happy to give me money.
But there's banner spots you can also sell. That if also somebody says, well, I don't have a product to sell, or I don't want to sell, because you can say, well, how about buying a PSA? How about promoting an organization that can't afford to promote themselves? We'll gladly take their money for that.
That's going to be my last resort. That probably won't ever come up in conversation with them. You're going to give me money to sell your product. If I'm calling a business and they're like, well, I don't have anything to sell, then why are you in business? You should just quit and shut it down now.
Well, and while we're talking about
you either have a service or you have a product or you're not in business. So if you don't have either of those, and if you do have one of those, then why don't you want to market? If you don't have one of those, then you need to just quit because you're headed for failure.
well, and then what about this too? I think it's important.
I'm ruthless. I did this for Google for 6 years. I ended up suing Google and winning. That's why I sit at home and do what I do now. And I'm only 31 years old. Because I was the best at what I did, and then I left Google with purpose because I really didn't like where Google was going with the things that they're doing, especially with all the meta tagging and the metadata. And so I didn't like it. So I had questions, and I started raising questions, which then raised questions, and I started getting called in meetings. Next thing you know, I was getting written up all the time for shit I didn't even do. They're just writing me up, right? It was very apparent what was going on. I had lost my googliness, apparently. And
you'll get written up at our company if you don't participate in drug testing.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
really, do drug testing. We want you to test which bud. Yeah, yeah, you're right. We want you to test which bud is the best, which gets you the highest.
That's the way they are. Well, they ripped me up for a lot of stuff, and turns out I ended up quitting. We got into a fight, and I ended up quitting. Well, I ended up filing for unemployment, right? Which you can't get if you quit, necessarily, unless you had like good reason. And I pretty much figured I had enough dirt on these guys. They've only been in business. By the way, Google's only been in business for 7.5 years. I worked for them for 6 of them. Okay? So I pretty much know everything about them and how they came up in the dirt on the dirt. Okay? And so I was like, I'm just going to file unemployment. There's no way they'll fight it, right? They did. So then we went to court for it, right? When we went to court, they didn't even show up to court, so I automatically won, and I got all my unemployment. I'm thinking, oh, okay. Then they tried to sue me, okay, for taking this money or whatever. So then we went to court. I beat that. So my lawyer said for $50 I should file a countersuit. So I did. That $50 was the best money ever spent. Because I won that countersuit against them. And now I make money and I get a check in the mail every week and don't have to do shit.
Nice.
So, and it's going to be that way for a while. Because I got a lot of it, but I just took it in fucking portions. I was smart. I didn't want it all in one chunk, so I didn't had to pay Uncle Sam 50% of it.
Now, another thing that we're going to take into consideration is building a little advertising company, too, along the way. Because some of these people will have their own ads, but most of them don't.
Right.
They're all going to need voiceover work. They're going to need people to call them up and check out their website and find out what's
Well, Terry lives with the voiceover king, by the way. She lives next door to the voiceover king. No, like.
Yeah, I do actually. I live with a guy named Ron Osborne. He does that Sergeant Detective Harry Palmer Jr. character, but he also does like tons of commercials and voiceover work. And he's done a couple of like commercials for.
Commercials, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
But he's probably out of our price league.
No.
I highly doubt that. He's a good friend.
Okay. Well then.
He's in. If we give him money, he's in. Well, especially for voiceover work, because he does it like in a microphone from home really quick. That's extra money to him.
Right. And that means when you need a female voice, you got Tara's voice, you got your voice, my voice, his voice. So let these people know when they say, well, I don't have an ad made, that somebody from the studio will call them and find out what they once said in their ad, and we will ship them out an ad to get them on the fucking network. But you were part of the package.
Absolutely. I would pitch that anyways. Like, here's my thing.
Wait. And if you're with the company, if you advertise it with us every 6 months, we give you a free ad.
Casper, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm pretty good at what I do, which is sales, and I'm going to sell these ads, okay? And I'm going to sell them, and I'm going to find out what these people want, and I'm going to go, yeah, we'll do that. We'll give that to you, and I'm going to get their money, okay? Then I'm going to come to you with a big grip of money and go, this is what we got to do. This is what I agreed to. And you're going to go, oh, we can do that, and it's not, I'm not going to do anything that's out of proportion that's like crazy. There's no way that could happen. I'm not stupid, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I'm going to be like, and here's the thing, like all the shit you were telling me we can do, you just overloaded me with information. That was overload. If I tried to tell a client that, they would just get overwhelmed and tell me no. that much information because they don't know what to do with it.
Oh.
Just tell them, look, this is what we got, this is what it is, this is what we could do. This is where, if you don't tell them this is either you want to do this or not, you don't tell them do you want to do this or not. You tell them this is where you need to be, this is what it costs, how you're going to pay for it. Okay, that's really what you need. Are you going to pay cash, check, or cash? Actually, we take credit cards, e-pal, let's do this, right? Like this is how you do it. You just always close. And then when they go, and then they'll tell you whatever their issue is, and you go, well, this is how I'm going to handle that issue. Screw them over, and then go, so now that we fixed that, how did you want to take care of this? That's always how you do it. It's very simple. It's a very simple process. I've been doing it for years.
And I do remind them that it's a tax write-off at the end of the year, so they're...
It's always a tax write-off at the end, and if they don't, I shouldn't have to remind them that if they know what they're doing, I shouldn't have to. And that's also only an American thing. It's not going to work for our Canadian and other subcontinents counterparts.
I know, but it is a nice in your face to Uncle Sam when you're using his money to tell them to go fuck themselves, huh?
Well, they actually have to still pay for it up front, but they will get it back at the end of the year.
Yeah.
They'll get it on the write-off, which will give them more in their return.
Well, good. No, because I didn't sit in my head saying, but I need to get a staff in here. To get a staff, I got to be able to pay salaries. I can't pay.
I used to own a door-to-door sales company, and kids that went door-to-door and sold magazines. I used to tell them if the people who owned a business, they wanted to give you a business check to let them know it's a tax write-off. I used to use that in my pitch. I understand it, but here's the thing. If I'm going to be calling companies in Canada, Mexico, especially Europe, especially for hemp products, I'm going to be calling a lot of European countries, which I have connections with. By the way, my brother just won the equivalent to the Nolan Ryan Award over there, which is amazing, which is kind of cool. I know we're not on the air, but I thought that was kind of neat. And so I have all these connections with them. We call these companies that have these hemp products. I mean, there's companies that make suits, hats, you name it. These companies are established. They have money. They will pay. Companies that are already established, right? Here's the thing. Companies that are dying and hurting for money usually aren't going to spend money in advertising. Why? Because they don't have it. And that's a big issue. And I like to tell them, well, if you did have it, I can talk to them all day and tell them, if you do come up with the money, we're going to save your business. Like, I'll put you on Google, I'll do this, I'll do that, right? Like, I can do all this stuff, right? The issue is they don't have the money, and they've usually expended their credits. They don't even have the credit to do it. So they're usually screwed. What you want to do is you want to call these established companies, right? These companies that are already established and doing well.
Yeah,
these companies have money, they have money to spend, and they want tax write-offs.
And in the list that I sent you, that Gmail list will probably be the one you're going to want to start with first.
Right, I got it. I actually I opened it up. It opened up in my Google account, but it wouldn't let me save or copy it. So then I just copied the link and posted it and saved that, so I can just go and repost the link and reopen it.
Right, but that's the one you're going to. That one's got what you were just talking about.
Right, because I want established hemp businesses, hemp companies that are already established, because those are the ones that are going to pay for marketing first. When they start marketing there, and once you get them marketing there, then the smaller companies will go, well, if they're marketing there, maybe we should. And that's how you do that. I did this for Google for 6 years. I actually wrote most of their business plans.
Well,
that's why they owed me a lot of money.
Just walked in the door, but we're so fucking brand new, we haven't even had a chance to say to anybody, we've got spots for sale. So that's how brand new we are. So it's perfect.
Well, that's perfect, because you get one or two established businesses, right? And as soon as you get one or two established businesses, you have to get in writing from them the okay to use them as references, which they'll do. You give them a good deal, they'll do it. You barter that in the fucking deal. It's all part of the trade. Anyways, so you get that in writing. Once you get that, then you call the mom and pop and go, well, you heard of this company? And they're like, yeah. Well, they advertise with us. They're like, well, we can. And you're like, sure you can. And it's simple. It's like, it's simple. And it's
I need somebody who can see it as simple, because everybody's been telling me for like years, Casper, you got a gold mine. You just need to figure out how to unearth it.
Yeah. I have been working for a gold mine that really just wants to unearth everything basically developed half of their business plans, and they didn't want to give me credit for it, and I told them, fuck you.
But you bumped into somebody who wants to move in love and is happy to give credit where credit's due.
That's Terry. That's Miss Terry Joyce. I ran into Miss Terry Joyce, and we started working, and we went to Salt Lake City, and we started working together, and we actually realized that we, as a team, the whole, we worked amazingly well together.
Yeah.
It was just, it just worked. Like, even when we disagreed, or we agreed to disagree, or even didn't agree to disagree, and just got that, it just brushed right off. It never, like, affected anything. And the work ethic, the whole 9 yards, it was just perfect.
Yeah. I mean, it's been really symbiotic. I'm very happy, with working with you, Kevin. And
I'm the same way, Terry.
it's been real pretty exciting. I mean, like it's just,
Nope.
yeah.
That you made that trailer for the Comic-Con,
Uh-huh.
and we started filming trips, and it just was like, it's been non-stop energy no matter where I go. Like, it's just people wanting to talk to me about it, wanting to message me about it, wanting to talk, and I'm just like, and it's just, it's all positive. I've only had like maybe one negative comment, and even if, I'm not even sure it was negative, I just perceived it that way, and he was like, no, I was trying to compliment you, and I'm like, fuck, you must be French.
Well, I mean, it's like I think like my thought is that I think it's good that we're actually taping some other stuff, and kind of, like now we have like the time for him's happening, and this if this is happening, then it's crossing over into that, and we've got that, and we're doing what we're doing. I think like then we release that whole hour show of our trips.
Right.
And then, because it's like, let it build. I want to do a trailer of our after hours, which I haven't been able to do yet because everything's happening so fast.
Right.
And then, working my part-time job at the same time, and so like, it's like sleep is like is valued.
Let them boil. They're watching these back episodes. They're going back. Have you watched the views? So
Yeah.
60. The other one, like the normal one, got like 27, but it's up to like 32 now. The other ones that were like at 10 and 12 are all jumping up to almost 20 something of these. These people, not only are they watching one, but then they're going back and watching the other ones. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's not weird. I mean, I guess this is what we wanted.
Right. I mean, like, because like this is what we're, Casper, we're just talking about whatever we want to. I mean, we just say, and we talk like we would be talking if it was just us.
Right.
So it's real voyeuristic.
Like us filming this.
And yeah, and so it's raw, and so then.
Paul's watching either, because this is one thing I've discovered. Is like when I go to my Spreaker accounts, I see that first I'm kind of like a little glum because it looks like only like 50 or 70 people listen to the show. I scratch my head. And then I go look at my stats on my Google stats and my Google stats and find that like 27,000 people were at my website alone listening to it. Who knows how many people are listening to it on iHeart, and then like you point out in the downloads, and then on iTunes.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah.
I asked you the other day.
Yeah.
Are you getting the Google stats on this? Because I don't trust what YouTube states as the number of views. So I asked, were you getting the Google stats on these?
I don't know where my Google stats are.
It'd be in your analytics.
And see, Kevin knows. That's why it's like when you go there, it's like you're suddenly like, I was fucking amazed. I mean, I actually had to call GoDaddy and ask GoDaddy. You know how when you buy a picture frame, it's got a family in it with the cute kid, right? So I called GoDaddy and said, hey, is this a picture of what a set of good stats will look like if you do your website right, or what? The guy went, look, and said, no, those are your stats. I went, well, you're blowing up. You really do have 150,000 hits.
Yeah, they'll be like, what? And they'll look at your stats and go, what?
Okay. But how do I don't know how to. I got to figure out how to access them.
What's happening tonight? PDX. It's one of the hottest websites in the state of Oregon. And on Google, Google's offered to buy it from me and my business partner twice. I've had other states offer to buy it off because we actually own the domains, because it's called What's Happening Tonight PDX. when we also owned the domains was when we bought it. We also bought domains for what's happening tonight Seattle, what's happening tonight Tucson, what's happening tonight Phoenix, what's happening tonight Los Angeles. Like we bought all these other cities, right? With the idea that if we blew the Portland one up, these other cities would want it. Well, that's exactly what happened. We built this huge website and we built it for free. We had like these computer kids come in and do it for free. It was kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
And we went downtown Portland and hit every nightclub, every bar, and we basically got their consent to do their pictures, to do their advertising, and we didn't charge them a dime. It was all free, right?
Uh-huh.
And then we set up this platform through Google, right? Through Google Drive, Google Docs, that all they had to do was email their event, right? And it would automatically go on a Google Calendar, and it automatically gets uploaded to the website. So it was very simple. When we did this, now our website and our group on Facebook is one of the biggest groups and active websites that's active in the state of Oregon. We are the #1 event website in the state of Oregon for all events going on in the state of Oregon. It's huge. It's amazing, right?
Right.
And it's not, and there's no monetary value to it. We don't make a dime off it. We get millions of hits a month, and we don't make a single cent. So I've tried to figure out how to monetize this. But we can't go back to the people and go, oh, give us money for your advertisement now, or we're going to kick you off because they're already there. And we've already set it up this way.
You let other people advertise on your site.
That's what they do. It's a free, basically. Yeah, that's all they
Yeah,
do.
but you let like you say, okay, yeah, everybody can advertise on here, but some people, if they want to, can advertise on here if they want to, and then they're going to get this many views because this site's getting this many views. So they're like a banner ad to your site.
Well,
Could
what
you
I
do
did-
that?
Well, I could, but I don't want to. I don't want to do that to my site. In all honesty, what I really want to do is I just want to sell it because Google's offers a lot of money. We've had Seattle offers money for just the domain. You know what I'm saying? For what's happening tonight, Seattle.
Uh-huh.
We've had California, Utah, like a few of the states we own the domains for. Right?
Yeah.
We own the domains. They've offered us quite a bit of money for it. Google offered to buy our website because Google wants it. Because Google said they had the manpower to go and turn these other domains into actual weapons, send people out, make it happen. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's how much traffic it gets.